Welcome to the latest episode of Platform. Today, we're going to be talking to Ricardo Lino. Ricardo had a very successful career as a pro rollerblader. He was in the front cover of various magazines such as B-Mag. He featured in Daily Bread, had clips and things like the 4x4 video, and had a pro wheel from Undercover. He was also due to get a pro skate from USD, but got injured. I think he broke his leg before that happened, and that caused him to take a break from blading. So then he pursued fixed gear bikes for several years before coming back into the sport. And then he got involved with Powerslide, and I think he was doing some kind of marketing for them. Started a YouTube channel, and things just blew up from there. He has a ton of subscribers, and some of his videos have over, I think it's like 530,000 views, one of his videos has. So it seems like he's just going from strength to strength with it. As a result, he then got a new job with Micro Skates. He has started his own skate shop, which, it's called Lino Life or Lino Shop, or, I'm really annoyed at myself for forgetting this. It's got Lino in the name. And he's moved back home to Portugal from South Africa. Got a shop space where he's got all the stock, and he's currently building his own skate park. So I just wanted to talk to him about how he got back into the sport after taking a break from it, how things are going now that he's living back in Portugal, how things are going with the shop and Micro, why he's building his own skate park, aside from just the sheer joy of having a skate park that is your own private facility, and just find out what he's got planned for the future. Before we do that, though, cue the music. When I said dress sexy, you took that literally. That is a solid outfit you've got going on there. You look like you're looking like Leon from the Sniper film. That is a stealth look.
I was at home, man. I was just putting my daughter down. Let me get a coffee. You recording anything already?
I'm recording it, but yeah, go and grab a coffee.
Let me get a coffee. Let's do this.
A coffee at 10 o'clock at night. You're a brave man.
Dude, I'm the worst. You know that I don't know if I'm the only person feeling like this, but I don't really feel like the caffeine does anything, honestly.
Okay.
At least at that, like, it doesn't make me not sleep.
Right. If I have more than like 2 or 3 coffees a day, I'll feel like physically sick, and my heart will just start racing. I'll have one in the morning, but yeah, maybe 2 at a stretch, but never more than that. That's a dangerous game.
I'm the worst with that. It's like, to be totally honest with you, I don't really think like the coffee does anything other than I really like the taste. I think that's the worst. Let me just clear it up here. Sorry.
So I don't know if you know this, but a few people seem to think that we look alike.
I know that, huh? But it's your fault. You even made a video starting the same way.
This is true. That's because I just got a little bit fed up with it. I've lost count of the amount of times people have went, are you guys related, or do you know that you look like him? And I'm like, yeah, I'm aware that I'm bald.
We're brothers. We're brothers.
Well, now I just tell everyone you're my dad. So that's my line, and I'm sticking to it from now on. So how have you been? Because it looks like you are insanely busy at the moment.
Dude, I really love what I do, but lately it's been really hard. And it's not because I don't like what I do. It's total opposite. It's like, it's been hard because the pandemic in Portugal took proportions. Like, let me just say it, that we are the country in the whole world with the most amount of deaths per capita. Right. No one from my family or close to my family. I live in a very small town, so it's all good. it's been all good, but we're still very restricted. Probably one of the reasons why I am where I am right now, like physically.
Yeah.
But the thing is, my daughters have no school. We got 2 daughters. We cannot have help from anyone. But me and my wife are super, super busy with our businesses, like both shops that we have, and like with my YouTube channel and with my main job. So it's been hard to try to keep up everything. And I was trying to work, and I couldn't work more than 2 hours a day, when usually 8 hours are not enough. So I've been going mad. And now, like, if it wasn't enough, I even got like another one, like the building the thing that we're building. So it's just been mad. But
I was about to say, so you've got less hours in the day than ever before, 2 small children to look after, and a dog, from what I understand as well. And you thought it would be a cat, and you thought it would be a good idea to build your own skate park.
Yes, better than ever. Reason for that being because I do not know when this pandemic is going to end or where this is going, and I need my own place to do my own things. And it's for someone, think about it this way, for someone that the time is not enough for me to go, man, I want to skate. I want to be able to skate. And lately I haven't been able to skate because of the way that my life is at the moment. And it's killing me. My wife knows it. So we tried to find a way to do it. It's the whole pandemic doesn't allow me to travel, which I used to do a lot.
Yeah.
So I had to make my own place, because for me to go to the city, to the next city, to be able to skate like in the little park, to film something and all that, a lot of times if I'm going to be skating for 2.5 hours, it's going to take 6 hours of my day, like preparing whatever I'm going to be doing and coming back. And so I rather have that place right here and do it whenever I want. Obviously, this is not ideal, because ideal for me it's to be able to travel, but I had to find a way. So more than ever, this is the time. I prefer to stop everything else for a week and make it happen.
So is that, as in, are people not allowed to use public skate parks, or do you just not feel comfortable doing it, or are there none nearby?
No, they're closed. They're closed.
They're closed.
At the moment, they're closed.
Okay.
They will open. They are closed. They will open. But like my closest park, I don't want these things that I have here to become like something that I film all the time, every time it gets boring. That's not what I want. But I want to be able to test my own things, and I want to be able to imagine, if I use the same rail for the same type of tricks on different skates, I'll be able to give you a more trustable opinion, if that makes sense to you.
And you'll notice, it'll be easier.
But the condition is the same. Yeah, the condition is the same, the exact same place where I'm going to try the exact same trick with a different skate. So the only thing different is really the skate. Then I can give you, this is obviously an example, but yeah, the parks are open, but sometimes I try to go there, and there's like, imagine there's a lot of kids, and I love that. I love being there with kids, but like there's a lot of kids with their parents and riding around with scooters. And if I'm trying to film something, sometimes it's hard. It's not because I don't like to be there with them. It's like, if you're trying to do like the talking part of like a video or whatever, you can't do it there. So and this way I can control things in a different way. So I will still go to the places that I go. I want to go to more places, obviously, but this is like a way to do different type of stuff that I haven't been able to do.
Yeah. So it's basically like your own controlled environment, and you can film in it wherever you want. So if you happen to get a free hour or two, you can,
exactly. This way I will always get time. But we are always transforming my old studio, which is underneath my house, in a room that we can have guests coming, and we can organize a lot more different type of content, Okay. I want to imagine I can pay 2 pros to fly here and to make like a game of Blade or a game of whatever. I can organize content differently this way. That's what I want to do.
Does your wife Janice know that you've turned your basement into a youth hostel for sweaty foreign skaters?
Her idea.
Oh God. Where did you find this woman? And because she is a rare breed. She is a very rare breed if she's agreeing to that.
No, trust me. If you and your wife had different mother languages. And if she would move to your country, she would love to be able to speak her mother language with more people other than you.
Yeah.
So for her, like I told you, we live in a small town. If we would be living like in Lisbon, as an example, a lot more people would be speaking the same language as her. Here, not that many people speak English. We do speak English at home with our kids and between us, obviously. But sometimes you want to talk with more people. And she was always a very communicative and very funny person that loves to enjoy life and play around and all that. And sometimes it gets a bit boring, if that makes sense.
Well, it's got to be tough when you go from having, a social circle of your family and friends in South Africa to then being there where our circle is just you guys.
Yeah, and she's very close to her family, and it's been like over a year that since she saw them. The whole all that she has is me and the kids. I still have my parents around. We don't see each other, or we don't think which is like it kills me. We move here instead of moving to any other place in the world. We could have moved to any other place in the world. When what we thought is like, what I do, I can do it from anywhere. So let's just choose a place. And she was like, okay, why don't we move to Portugal? We can go to your parents' city. We still got like 4 or 5 years when we first moved until our daughter, it was one only, go to school. So we can just travel, and whenever she needs to go to school, then we calm down, but we still have the help from her parents. That never happened. It happened for like a couple months.
Yeah, that's got to suck for them as well, because they know that their grandkids are that close, and yet they can't play with them or
it's some people don't really care, and I fully respect that. It's the way that my parents see things. My family is a bit scared about the whole situation. I respect that, so it is what it is.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go back to a more jolly topic. So how's the skate park build going? How long do you think it's? Because it looks like you've basically built the entire skeleton already.
Yeah, it's done. Basically, the thing is, I don't know if you knew, but around 2010, I worked as a ramp builder for a Portuguese company called Academia dos Patins. It's owned by a skater, by the Portuguese vert skater, like the first and only Portuguese vert skater. He's actually very good. Still he doesn't skate that often anymore, but he's still good in vert. And he started a company around 98, just doing demos. But then he had to make the ramps for his demos. He was going around all schools around the country with a project that was, you can get that thing in your body without that thing being drugs. Something like that. It was called sports.com drugs.sem. Sem means without. So it was sports.with drugs.without. Something like that. Like it's a Portuguese, like, playing with words around.
Yeah.
That wouldn't make sense to you, but it's like a way to play around with words, saying that you can do a lot of sports without using drugs and have fun. So he had that whole project.
I know sin. I know agua sin gas. I know agua con gas. I've got basic Spanish. I don't know Portuguese, but I know basic Spanish.
But it's very similar. It's very similar. Yeah. But the thing is, he started that company, and that evolved to him building parks. And nowadays they're like a very big company.
Okay.
And I do not work with them anymore since I moved to South Africa. I had a contract with him, but I finished my contract. I quit my job to move to South Africa.
So were these the people you were doing shows with, or was that different?
No. I started doing shows with them. I actually went to Angola. I actually made a video called The African Inline Experience with them. I went to Angola for the first time with them. Then right after that first trip,
that's when you abandoned them. That's when you went, I'm out of here.
No, not yet. Okay. No, never. I never really abandoned them like that or anything like that. So basically, I went to Angola for the first time. I really enjoyed it. Some of the guys that were with me, they didn't enjoy it as much. And one of them, which is the guy that is helping me build the park, is actually my best friend and one of my favorite skaters of all time, Samuel Dias. He was the Portuguese street skating champion, and they wanted the Portuguese street skating champion to go back to Angola to do some shows. They wanted the champion, but the champion didn't enjoy it as much as I did. And he was like, you know what? Why don't you go? Back then, I was recently divorced. I've been married before, Janice, and I was recently divorced. And I was like, well, I'm going from living a married life to go single. It's like, all also on money, it's a lot tighter. Like you used to split everything to go everything on you. So he was like, just why don't you go to instead of me? And I did. So when I got to this show, it was for an energy drink called Speed from Angola. And that energy drink was doing everything wrong. Basically, it's like they wanted to have a show with a lot of people. Basically, they wanted to use something for marketing, for their own marketing. But instead of concentrating everything in the same day, like a concert, they were doing half an hour shows 3 times a day for 10 days. So they actually had more than 100,000 people watching the show, but it was all spreaded. So they never got that big thing they wanted. The ramps were not nicely built. They had no idea at all about action sports shows, or anything like that. So while I was there, I was talking to one of the guys that was always there, and I was actually asking that guy, like, who's organizing these? And the guy told me, that's me. And I was like, sorry, man, but everything is wrong. I told him,
You're like, this is awkward.
No, it's true. Like we became very good friends. He told me like we were asked to organize this type of show with this type of activities, but I don't know enough. Would you be willing to help? And I was like, hell yeah. And then from then, the next day I was actually like in the biggest hotel in Luanda with the owner of the company. And the guy was just like, what would you do? And I was just telling him, like, first thing, you don't need a 10 days event. You don't need 3 half-an-hour shows. It's just you want one show and you want everything into that show, or maximum 2 days or something like that. So from that moment, they said, okay, so make us a proposal. We would like to work with you as a consultant. We need your help. We need your ideas. We need you to guide us in what we're going to do next. So I made that proposal, and that became my second job other than ramp building. And it was actually a better payment than I had as a full-time job. And that was just a 1 hour a week phone call. So I started working with these guys and with the ramp building company. And one of the first things that we wanted to do, I told them, you guys need to see the best action sports show in the world, and that's the Nitro Circus. You need to see it. And then you can see, like, you did the worst, they did the best. So let's try to find somewhere in the middle. It doesn't need to be a mega ramp, but let's try to find something that works for you guys after watching the best. So we bought tickets. They bought tickets for us to go to Mexico City. That's 2 or 3 days.
That's a bit of a good deal you got there. You're like, oh, so if you could just fly us, like, across the world to this.
It was me.
You're already right.
I will tell you why. Basically, it was me, the owner of the company, and the brand manager. And the reason why they wanted to go there was because we looked at the calendar. Money was not a problem in Angola at that time. They wanted to go to a city that they thought it would relate more with their culture. And Mexico City was more like it was closer to what Angola would be in our minds than, as an example, if you go to San Diego or if you go to New York. Those are completely different realities, So the week, like 3 days before the Mexico show, Travis Pastrana broke his leg and the show got canceled, and I got my tickets. So I still went to Australia I still went to Mexico. I flew to Mexico for 36 hours and flew back. And then the next week there was the Nitro Circus in Cape Town, South Africa. So they did the same. They bought tickets to Cape Town because it was closer to the Angola reality. It's in Africa and all that. So they bought the tickets for the next week. And I went there for less than 2 days. And that's when I met Janice. I never go out at night by myself. I went out by myself. I met Janice.
Yeah, I remember you telling the story on Jump Street. You just randomly went, I'll just go to a club. And she was in that club. Yeah.
Yeah, and we met. And then that was the day before 2014 Winter Clash, or a couple days before the 2014 Winter Clash. So
is that the one you
right
went
after
to
that,
with the young Portuguese guy, the young Portuguese street skater guy?
Rodrigo.
That's
Yeah,
the one. Rodrigo,
Rodrigo.
what is it?
Yeah,
Braz Trexiera or something like that?
Rodrigo Braz Teixeira.
That's it. Yeah, got you.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing you there with the young kid, because I'd seen a few edits of him on
him and his brother.
Yeah.
Dude, his brother won the last Summer Clash.
Okay.
Martin Braz Teixeira.
That must have been a long time ago, because Summer Clash hasn't been for years.
That was 2015. That was the year after that.
Right.
And that same guy at a video part, Martin had the video part in Brian Bina, one of Brian Bina's last videos, the one that they went across Europe.
Reincarnation. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So Martin had a part on it. So they're brothers. They still skate every day. People don't see what they're doing, most of the people, but those guys are killing it.
You don't seem to hear much. I've seen like a few Instagram clips here and there of Rodrigo, but you don't seem to see that much of them. Yeah.
Dude, that kid he has an amazing brain. He's very smart, like very, very smart. He studied physics or something like that. He was actually doing his internship in Bayreuth, which is the city from Powerslide. And he did his internship last year. He is now finished with his graduation. He's very young. And his brother is big into music, like big. He's like playing in the best places in Portugal. Not now, obviously. Yeah. And he's also into video production. So both of those kids, they're like amazing. I'm still in contact with everyone and also with them. But then, so I came back to Holland. I didn't even knew the name of Janice. We met, we had something, but it was like, I'm leaving tomorrow and whatever. Then we somehow started connecting, like, because I left my phone number on her friend's arm when I left, because she left it me, and we were like, man, no one knows me. Like, if something happens, this is my phone number. We were all like drinking and whatever. So we started talking. A couple of months later, she was coming to Europe. She came to visit me. And then a couple of months later, I went to South Africa to visit her. And then I just came back home after South Africa, and I just went to my boss. We have a very good relationship. We had, and we still do. And I told him, you know what? I have this way to survive. I have this backup thing with this Angolan company. So I'm just going to risk it. If it works, it does. If it works, good. If it doesn't, I'll come back. And I did. I moved to South Africa. They never pay me again, the Angolan company, not because of them, but the economy crashed. They couldn't transfer money to another country. And basically I moved there and I had no way to make money from that. And then in South Africa, it would be very hard. Would be very hard for me to get a job. So I somehow started like checking what I could do. And one of the things that I could do was, after realizing that the whole marketing of every single skate brand is made up for summer and winter, like if Europe and the USA is the only countries in the world. When it's winter in Europe, we as someone that does social media for brands, right? It's now winter. What you gonna do? When it's summer, what you gonna do in the summer? We forget that the other hemisphere, the whole of South America, South Africa, Australia, they're living a completely different time of the year. And do not forget that the biggest market for inline skating is South America. Period.
Yeah, you could see that from what was the online competition? The e-fees competition. See if you saw the votes that all the like Brazilian and South American skaters got. I was like, where they were getting like hundreds of votes, and I was like, and it was all from that, because they've got like such a strong networking community over there.
Not just that, they have the numbers. You have no idea. Basically, most of the people in Europe have no idea. I went to São Paulo to visit the rolling, what's the name? Man, I don't want to forget the name. Rolling Sports.
Okay.
Rolling Sports is a distributor for Powerslide and Rollerblade. I was still working with Powerslide, and they invited me to go to Brazil because I speak Portuguese, obviously. So I was there for 2 weeks. I can tell you that for 2 weeks that I was in Brazil, every single day I skated with either one or more than one group. and the group was not the same. And when I mean a group, I'm talking about more than 30 people, sometimes even 50 people skating in the streets.
Right.
For 15 days, I've seen, I don't know, I don't want to say anything wrong, but like in one city, probably I saw more than 2,000 skaters in just the people that I met. And there's a lot more skaters.
Yeah.
And those are the people that have those groups, and they meet weekly. And this is just one city. And there's a lot of those. And like when I speak with Felipe Zambardino, you know Zamba?
That's who I was going to ask about. Yeah. Because don't Rollerblade have a brand they only release out there? Is it not like Tracksart or something like that? Is that right?
No, it's different. No. Tracksart. So no. Tracksart is a national brand from Brazil that they used to sponsor Carlos Pianowski.
Yeah.
They used to sponsor Fabiola. That's nothing to do with Rollerblade.
All right.
That's a national brand.
Okay.
No, it's a national brand, but they are so big. They are so big that there was a time they produced a skate for Felipe Zambardino. They were able to pay him. They were able to pay him more than any other international brand is actually paying to a pro skater.
Well, if they're selling, of course they are, because
Yep. They were paying more than like a USD would be paying to any pro skater or a Razors. And when we're talking about 2007, 2008, when there was still some money for salaries.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. So you've missed a beat then. You need to move to South America and open up a skate shop there.
No, man, I'm good. We're good here. So basically, then after that, we moved there. I actually got in contact with Powerslide, and at that time I was skating a lot of quads, and they were a bit in the beginning of quads. They didn't add that much stuff.
Right.
So I always kept good connection with Matthias, and I still do nowadays. And I told them, are you guys going to do anything with quads? And they were like, yeah, we would love to, blah, 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 but we don't know what we're going to do. And then we started talking about something, and we find out a way for me to do something with them, because he also needed my help. And other than just getting with this quad thing, I would also help them getting content for their social media, because I would be in other part of the world, like I just told you. So they would send me samples. We would get some images before the product come out, so that they could use it on their social media and all that stuff. And this is like 2015. So then the whole thing started evolving with Powerslide, and I realized that, dude, I'm just doing all this stuff for the brand and no one sells the brand. I might as well just order some products and see how it goes. And that's what I did. While I lived in South Africa, I always took my salary in products. I didn't got paid in money. I mean, I had a salary, but I always preferred to get the products.
Yeah.
So it was
okay.
Dude, I was. You know what? If every pro skater would do it, and I'm not telling every pro skater to do it, but if their salary would be made in products, they would be making almost double the money.
But in terms of in terms of selling on the products, or like in what respect do you mean?
How many pro BMX riders have a website? How many pro scooter riders have a website? If they use a product, you will see the product on their website. When people buy from their website, they're paying the exact same price they would pay at the shop. Obviously, if they have a connection to the brand, they buy it shop price. So what happens at the end? They're making profit out of it. If the pro skater has a salary of 500 or of 1,000, if he gets the skate as a payment, I don't know if the brands are willing to do it or not, but this is just, but most of the brands would. Most of the brands would, because when they pay you 500 at the shop price, they're already making a margin, so they wouldn't pay you 500. They would pay you a little bit less.
But what if the price that you have to pay? What if the price that they have to pay the rider comes out of their margin? Then I imagine a lot of companies wouldn't be into that, because then they'd be like, "Well, you're eating into our profit margin."
What do you mean? Sorry, I didn't got there.
So like you're saying, if they go onto the web, like say the rider's website, and then as a result they end up buying the product, then the company could argue that they would be buying the product anyway, and as a result of, you know, given a cut, like I don't know, whatever the cut would be of, you know, the sale, they would say, well, you know, like they wouldn't want to give up that percentage.
Well, that would be a monthly thing, right? I don't know if I got your question right, but
Because,
like that would be
like
something like,
say for example, like I imagine that's a similar setup. What you're describing is a similar setup to what you have with Head and Skate, for example. If they use your code and they get, I've always been kind of curious about that, because if a customer uses your code, then Head and Skate knows that that person's visiting their website and buying something as a result of your content or your influence.
yes,
Yeah. But
yes,
that customer is already getting a 10% discount because they're using your discount
yes,
code. So that's eating
yes.
into Head and Skate's profits. And then you're obviously going to get a cut as well, because you're going to get money for influencing them to buy
But
something.
what if I tell you that, you know, what's the price of a click, a Google direct click? Imagine how much would you as a shop need to pay for like a product advertisement? It's between €1 and €2 around. So imagine there's a USD skate and you bought like 500 of that skate and you want to promote that skate because you have a lot of stock of that skate. Now there's this guy that will give you 5,000 clicks on that link, and you don't need to pay 5,000 or 10,000 to that guy. And there's a lot of people that go to their website and they don't even put the code, which is all good.
Yeah. Oh, so they're also measuring it on who visits the shop via, you know, either your website or your channel or whatever. They're measuring it.
I don't know if they do it, but I do it.
Right. Okay.
So when I do, I always do that whenever I try to link something. I want to have an idea of what actual engagement that has. And it's also a way, because I don't know, I don't get a report from that.
Yeah. So you're big into the analytics. You're big into scanning all the analytics and seeing what works and what doesn't.
No. I keep it. No, this is something that you learn through time.
Yeah.
When I only had one signature product, two, but it was the same. It was the wheel, and then I had the second edition of the wheel. I had no idea, man. I was like 20, but I was like, all I wanted was skating, and I'm happy for that. But like at the same time, I have no idea how many wheels were made, I have no idea how many wheels were sold, to where they were sold, which is perfectly normal. But nowadays I have interest on that. Like I want to see, it's not about counting money. It's not even about that thing. It's about like, where do I actually have an influence? Where am I actually? It's interesting. I don't know.
It's definitely interesting, and it's funny that you should bring that up, because that has been an issue for skaters in the past. Like I remember Colin Kelso, the reason he quit USD was because he asked them directly, how many of my skates are you selling? He said, you know, I'm aware of what I'm getting from you in terms of money, but I'm not aware of what you're getting from me in return. And I think he just wanted to know the numbers. And because they wouldn't tell him, he quit.
You know, with me, I never felt like they wouldn't tell me. I was just not there. I don't know. I was.
You just didn't think to ask.
You know, I think when I got my wheels, it was actually already late. Period. I was a way better skater before. Honestly, I was a way better skater as a I was a way better skater trick-wise, like doing more stuff and crazier stuff and whatever, when no one knew me. It's just like that, period. Like, and once things only started happening to me when I started being able to travel. And the thing is, when you travel, it's not the same. You're not always with your friends. I very easily make friends, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Like this guy that I just told you, Samuel Diaz, he's my best friend. He's seen me skate the best. There's this other guy from Portugal, from the south of Portugal. We call him Goya. These two guys, they've seen me skate better than anyone else, and I've seen them skate better than anyone else. We used to get the juices out of each other, just like skate better,
motivate each other.
Yeah, it's just like I never had that again. Like, yeah, there would be a lot of times, but I felt more pressure, which might be just a stupid thing. And nowadays I don't really care.
Not at all.
Like, I really don't care.
Of course you're going to feel pressure. Like if you go to a foreign country and you've got a filmer or, a photographer, and you're like, well, I want to get something from this person. I want a photo in Daily Bread or whatever, or you're skating with pros that you have respect for. And you're like, well, I don't want to look stupid in front of these people. It's the pressure that you put on yourself. Everyone does that. That's natural.
Let's be honest here, the only reason why I got known for skating was because the photographer from Daily Bread was Ryan Schutte.
Yeah.
Period. And I met Ryan Schutte very, very randomly. He was coming to Portugal after finishing his graduation, and he actually emailed BMAG because he was a contributing photographer, something like that, or a contributor. I don't know how you say it, but basically emailed them and asked, "Do you guys know of anyone that skates in Portugal?" And the truth is, every now and then they used to ask me for results of events in Portugal and stuff like that, or of what, if I knew of anything happening in skating. I don't know how we got in contact. I honestly don't know, me and BMAG, but that's how somehow things started. So they gave my contact to Ryan Schutte. I got a random email from this American guy just saying, just finished my graduation. I'm going to be traveling around the world and I'm going to go to Portugal. Would you be able to help me? I picked him up at the airport. He wasn't working for Daily Bread or anything. He was just a guy that finished a graduate, like some photography studies in San Francisco. And he wanted to shoot a lot of skating. So he came to Portugal and I couldn't skate because the week I was so excited, like 2 or 3 days before I got hurt on my knee. And I usually don't get hurt knees anyway. I got hurt on my knee and I took him everywhere. I took him to skate with all my friends, to shoot all my friends, but we were never able to shoot. And all my friends used to talk very highly about me, and it's never anything that I asked anyone, "Hey, tell good things about me to this guy." I had no idea. It's just like, I know you understand. It's like that was the time that I actually used to go bigger on my skates and all that stuff. And somehow when he left, he was like, "Man, if you ever want to go to California, I would love to shoot with you." But we created like this relationship that was very cool with him. So even when he left here, he ended up going to Ireland, and I connected him to Albert Tui, and he ended up meeting a couple more people. He wanted to meet Neoman because he came with a plan. These was the people that he wanted to meet, and I tried to organize that plan with what I knew, and I didn't know a lot because I was in Portugal all the time. So after that, I ended up going to America a couple of months later, like 7, 8, 9 months later. I begged my parents to help me with the trip. And I went with another friend from Portugal, and Ryan Schutte gave me a place to stay. And Ollie Short was staying in the same place. Yeah, when I landed there, he was staying. And dude, Ollie was my favorite skater. I had no idea that he was going to be there. And we became good friends. And I was just with them. They were shooting Ollie, and I was just the guy that was there. So we ended up shooting a couple of pictures because we became friends. I became like, I was cool to do whatever. It was a good trick or a bad trick. I didn't care. I would just skate. And every now and then they would shoot something, and they ended up being able to do something with it. So that's the only reason why things happen, because like skating with your friend is completely different. And nowadays I actually enjoy so much to skate by myself. I love it. I'm a better skater by myself than when there's people around. I might be the only guy, but
oh no, like, cause it's when you're in that situation, it's harder to progress. Like the amount of skaters I've spoken to over the years, and they're like, you just become de-skilled because you go out, and competition skaters say it a lot as well. They're like, oh, well, you're just expected, you go there and you learn your run, or you'll learn tricks that you can like consistently land in a competition run. But as a result, you become a good competition skater, but then you feel that you're de-skilled in other areas because there's always another event. And especially it's a lot less common now, but back then when it was like there was a new event every couple of weeks or every 3 weeks, so they're always on a plane in a different country with different people, and they were like, that's why loads
You
of
get
them
your
quit.
safe tricks.
Yeah, because they're
you
like,
get your safe tricks and do those.
I stopped enjoying skating because I'm just traveling all the time and not actually enjoying the skating part. And they're like, and I got burnt out because I'm just getting hurt all the time at these competitions. And yeah, so I think there's a lot to be said for being in the same place, being comfortable, and that's, most skaters say, they like learning their tricks on like a flat ledge or on a flat bar, and then they take it to bigger things. But if you're just always going out filming or shooting for a project, you don't get the time to learn new stuff because it's
exactly.
That's quite funny that you mentioned Ollie, because I remember that time well. That was when he was at college or university and he got his student loan check, and it was like a couple of grand, and it was meant to be to see him through that year of studying, and he just took all the money, bought a ticket, and went to America. And he's like, I'm going to try and make it, and just literally spent his entire student loan on trying to make it as a pro skater in America. And
he did it.
The rest is history. Yeah, he became one of the most iconic British skaters of all time.
It's awesome, man. I had like we became like tight while we were there. Like, it was cool. It was, man, he was the pro skater, and I used to idolize him, and I still do. But it was very funny how things for me change over time, and it was funny, man. It's just like at the time he was a Euro pro for USD.
Yeah. And no one cared.
I remember,
like no one cared when he lived in the UK and wore baggy jeans and was still skating at.
But that's when he was already. That's when he already made it to the finals at the IMYTA Paris. He was starting to use that Freddy Krueger shirt, those tighter pants, those England.
But that's it. He realized that he needed an image, because if he didn't have an image, he just looked like every other great skater. So he had to have something to set himself apart. And as soon as he figured that out, it all fell into place.
Concept.
Yeah.
Concept.
And
it's like if you want to relate that to a brand, think of Shadow. Think of the previous Shadow and the actual Shadow. There was a concept. There's no concept.
Yeah.
But let's move on. Let's talk about Ollie.
Ollie was very clever in choosing to link up with people like Brandon Negretti and have a section in Forever Now and just market himself as this person. It was very cleverly done, and you can tell that a lot of skaters. But
he had the skating.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that have the ability
and
the brain.
He needed the ability. Yeah,
I've seen stuff from Ollie that some of them never really got filmed or anything, but it's just like the skill was totally there. And it honestly, it makes me mad when people say that, but he used to do 540Ds and he doesn't do it anymore. He doesn't want to. I'm sorry, probably not now. But when people used to say that he chose not to.
Yeah.
He chose not to, because he never lost the ability to skate. He just chose to move a different way. And he had a concept. He had something. He had something that he wanted to do with his skating and with his image, and he was loyal to it. And for a lot of people, that was hard, because I also love the Enigma Ollie, the super baggy, the gap to true top, the TTS. I love that Ollie, but seeing him skate on the last videos that I did, it was like that was progression. And it's for a lot of people, it's like, but he doesn't do those spinning. That's regression. No, it's not. It's like someone having a concept of what they want, like something that they wanted to do, and they go for it.
Yeah. And the same thing's been said. Think about any skater that's had a drastic change over the years, like Alex Brosco or Chris Farmer. There's always these people that say, they fell off or they're not as good. No, they reinvented themselves. They extended their lifespan as skaters, and you try doing what they do. You can't do it. You know why? Because you're not Alex Brosco. You're not Chris Farmer. So yes, they might not be jumping through trees.
There's very few Frankie Morales in this game.
Yeah, like stuff like that as well. And they're like, he just does the same stuff all the time now. And it's like, yes, but it's stuff you can't do. So like, if you can do better, let's see it.
There's a lot of skaters, like, I don't think to be better, you need to spin 180 more. You need to do 1 more meter of grinding. It's not always about that. For sure. It's like a lot of times it's actually doing tricks that are more simple, but that look better at the pro skaters level. I at the moment, for me, I honestly don't care at all. I don't care. Like I do my things. I try to be comfortable with what I do, but I'm not that guy that try to put my hands like this. And I respect that completely. And I know, like, at a certain level of skating, when you're trying to achieve a certain thing, you need that type of detail. It's what makes you special. For me nowadays, I really want to enjoy my time on the skates, and if it feels good to me, it's good. That's it. It doesn't need to always to look the way that I would love to make it look. So I prefer sometimes not to even see it. If it felt comfortable, that's cool.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. And it's not about how technical or difficult the trick is, because some people just have tricks and you see them do it and you're like, I can't imagine it looking better than how you've made that trick look. Like you see Louis Zamora do a backside royale and you're like, that's a beautiful example of a trick. It doesn't have to be complicated. You've just made it look really good.
My favorite trick nowadays is Mises.
Okay.
I've been doing Mises a lot, and it's like, this is like there's two types of Mises only: the good looking ones and the horrible looking ones. That's it. There's no middle ground when it comes to Mises. So I've been trying to do my thing, and like the way it feels comfortable to me, I actually like the way it feels. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of people that put a lot of weight on the front foot, and it really looks horrible. I can't.
So what you're talking about is it has to have the either the Brian Jaggers or the Seth Miner stance. It has to have the
best Mises of all time.
Yeah, I
was so
happy.
You
were going down this line.
Yes, dude, I was so happy. Like at the last Blading Cup, I met Seth Miner, and I had to tell him, man, I used to do my sweat stances with my friend Goya that I just told. We used to do sweat stances like, no, you need to go more on the back. You need to look like Seth Miner. Look at this picture, the Daily Brand picture.
It's so crazy that single photo in Daily Bread like became like, people remember that decades later and they're like, that is a perfect example of a trick. Like you see that and you're like, yes. Yeah.
I actually wanted to film something with Seth when I was at the Blading Cup, but then we ended up not having the time. He had a surgery like after a bad accident on skates. I don't know if you are.
I remember that because there was like a GoFundMe for it. Yeah. Yeah.
I really don't know if he's fully skating at the moment or how much that affected him, but if he's watching this, shout out to Seth. He's awesome. I used to love his skating so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
He would be if you never did anything with him. I think not a lot of people did, and I know that you're very active with these now. He would be a very good guest. He has a very cool history. I can't really talk about it. I'm not going to, but he has some cool stuff.
Okay,
that's all I can say.
That's intrigued me. All right, I hear you. We've got sidetracked because there was you told me the story about I was talking about going in South Africa, which I'd already heard in Jump Street. But what I didn't know is, so obviously I remember the time when you were a pro skater. Like you had the front cover of B-Mag, you had the pro wheel. Like I remember you having clips in the 4x4 video, and I know that you've said that you broke your leg and that was the reason why you stopped skating because
no, not at all. You know what? No, I actually broke my leg in the very beginning of things. I broke my leg on the BMAC tour, the first BMAC tour in Europe, the Euro Trash tour.
Right.
I broke on day 0. The tour was supposed to start in London, and some of the guys met some of the guys. In Barcelona or in London. I don't know where it was. Probably in Barcelona. I don't know. I know that the tour was supposed to start either in Barcelona or in London. We had all the flights booked and all that. There was a couple of amazing skaters. And what happened was some of the skaters like me, Orn, we met in in Munich, and there was a party at the Ignition skate shop for the premiere of Opinions, if I'm not wrong. The premiere, we saw the premiere of Opinions, and then the next day we went for a street skate session for a grind out. Was it a grind out session or it was just Ignition? I don't know, man. I don't want to say anything wrong, but we got together in Munich, and it was my first time ever in Munich, and I broke my leg. And after that, I still recovered, and that's when I actually started skating for USD, and things started. I was already skating for USD back then, but things for me started getting better after that. What happened to me was you were talking about reinventing yourself at skating. I didn't reinvent my way of dressing, but I did reinvent my way of skating completely, because I used to only think of jumping from there, grinding from there, and for a couple of years I had to learn how to not skate that way. So I actually went from the guy that could do a lot of tricks to the guy that had like 4 or 5 safe tricks, but I would do them like in big spots, but like they were my safe tricks, like negative acids, trumizus, back savannas. There were a couple of those that I could do basically everywhere, but that was it. But I wouldn't.
I've got this totally mixed up then. So what was it that made you step away from professional skating then? Because you went away for like
I finished my graduation.
So it was just
I finished
just
my
because
graduation.
Right. It was related to university
I was still studying.
and work, or right? Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I was studying in Hungary for 2 years, and that's when I was traveling a lot and all that.
Yeah.
And it was Central Europe, so I could just be everywhere. I used to be at the BMEG house a lot. And then when I finished, I came back to Portugal for my last year of my graduation. I studied sports science, and I did my internship in a school as a sports teacher. And after that, I ended up moving to Lisbon. And when I moved to Lisbon, I was working as a personal trainer, and I was very busy. I could make a lot more money than I could do from skating, obviously. Even if in skating, I was not just a skater anymore. Back then, after skating for USD for 2 years, the first time I went to the power slide headquarters in Bayreuth, I stayed with Bauer. I don't know if you know Bauer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bauer was like, yeah, Matthias wants to talk to you tomorrow, and might be a cool thing. And I had that meeting with Matthias. It was my first time ever actually meeting Matthias. And Matthias proposed me to become a brand manager for Undercover. And Undercover back then, Undercover Wheels had a different concept, and they wanted to change it. Basically, Undercover Wheels was supposed to be the cheapest wheel on the market, but it was their goal to make the most affordable wheel, to make the most affordable wheel on the market, and to give pro wheels to the local heroes. Basically, they had a wheel with Yanis Vovos.
They gave one to Brian Adams, because the very first pro wheel they did was Brian Adams, who's obviously a Glasgow skater, and and then they had Evgeny Leonov, Yanis Vovos from Australia. They had like one guy from almost each side, you know. And then they also had a guy from Mexico. Yeah, Alan Shepard from Mexico. Alan Shepard from Mexico. And that was it. Basically, they were amazing skaters, but they were not known enough, or they wouldn't speak English. Yeah, of course, Brian Adams and Yanis Vovos would, but Evgeny wouldn't, and Alan Shepard probably back then wouldn't, or they wouldn't be very marketable for the international scene. So they wouldn't make it to a company like Mind Game ever. Not ever, I wouldn't say ever, but they wouldn't make it at the time, you know? That's fair enough. I know what you mean. Yeah.
So they had that brand. That was basically it. The wheels were like a lot cheaper than the other brands. But they were also cheaper. Not just more affordable, but also cheaper. They didn't last as long.
Yeah.
And the whole idea was to reinvent the brand, or to keep I actually asked them, I remember in that meeting, but do we want to keep the brand name, or do we want to start something new? And they're like, well, we can decide, and we actually ended up, no, let's keep undercover, but let's come out with something. And that's when we came out with the slogan, putting color under your feet, because back then there were no other brand making colored wheels. Every single wheel was the same color. Back then, it was 2004, every wheel was white. In the 90s, you had a lot of colored wheels.
You had Senate with like the Blue Dave Colash and the Crayola, but I know what you
Kryptonics said the Down Everett, the same color as the China wheel.
Yeah.
They had the orange wheels. They had like lots of different wheels. But in the early 2000s, every wheel was white. Probably there's an exception, but like most of the wheels, like 95% of the wheels were white.
I would say that's true, yeah.
So we were like, okay, let's try to make a difference. If we make colored wheels, when you see an image of on a picture, or so, like when you see an image on a magazine, you will see, oh, red wheels or orange wheels or green wheels, those are on the cover. So you would very easily identify what wheels were those. So that was the initial thing. And we had to build a team. At first, the team wasn't even like, I had Matt Auger, then Matthias Auger, that for me is still one of, Matthias Auger was, funny
he had the incredible section in clip two, I think it was.
Dude, he won the first Winter Clash.
Remember that? He used to be a really good competition skater as well, and then he got on rollerblade and disappeared to Australia, and things fell apart with rollerblade, and the rest is history. But
he still skates. He's still amazing. He's still really
good, because he's got clips in the Parallel Collective video, the most recent one from Melbourne. Yeah.
I really love Matthias. I don't contact him as often. I remember the last time I was in Nuremberg last year, we were actually in the same airport, but like we were like, he was about to leave, or in Paris. I don't know. It was one of the trips that I did last year. He was in the same airport as me.
Right.
I just landed and he was leaving, something like that. But we ended up not meeting, and it's been like over 6 or 7, maybe more, maybe 10 years that I don't see him. But anyway, so we had that team, and it was Matthias, Richie Eisler, me,
I remember that,
and Ollie Bennett. And the reason why we had Ollie Bennett, because Powerslide was very, very happy with Ollie Bennett at the time. He was the most productive skater, period. They started,
he had so many photos in magazines,
They sent him a pair of dashes just for him to test them, and they gave them a review like no other skater would. And then ever since, they started giving a lot of products, and he became so productive. He became so productive that he was actually way more productive than me, and he ended up taking my job. And for me at the time,
I remember he took over Undercover. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't really understood that. At the time, I actually had this conversation with Ollie. Like, I made a podcast with him about it, and I spoke about it. At the time, I didn't understand why that was happening. Well, that was happening because I wasn't answering emails. I was too busy either skating or partying or just working, because I came back to Portugal and I started working. And that was one of the reasons why I somehow faded away from Powerslide. But the reason why I was also not as present was because I started working when I finished my graduation. So I started working as a personal trainer, and then it was taking a lot of my time. I was making a little bit more money, and that's where I was when I started talking about Undercover. So that was basically one of the reasons why I slowly started disappearing, but I never really stopped skating. I actually skated less 4 or 5 years after that, when every time that I would skate, my ankle would swallow like huge, because of.
I remember you mentioning that, yeah.
Yeah, so I ended up started riding bikes. I
think that's what I'm curious about. What was it that made you put down the bike and pick up the skates again?
Very easily. I can even go why I started riding bikes. So I'll start from the beginning. It's fast. It's actually fast, this one. So I used to work not too far from my house in a gym, in a health club. And my car broke, and I still had to go to work because that's how I was making my money for everything. So while I was trying to get the loan from the bank to try to get a new car, I went to Decathlon and bought a cheap bike just to go to work and come back every day. And while doing that, there was someone at the gym to say, "Hey, have you seen those bikes, those fixed gear bikes? Like, it's very easy. You you don't need brakes and whatever. And I went and I looked for that shit. And I bought one from eBay. I got the bike. I started riding the bike around, and like, I don't know if you're the same, but for me, it's like I need to challenge myself. And I have a bike just to move from place to place. I get bored. I need to push it. In no time, I was spending a lot of money in that bike, but I actually became good at it. Good enough to have like a signature frame. And I was invited for a couple of Red Bull events in San Francisco, downhill, like
I was about to say, yeah, because I've seen photos of you at like competitions or events or whatever they are. Yeah.
That was like in 2 years or something, but that was because of skating. Period. When I started riding a bike, the first thing I was like, I want to do that rail on the bike, because that was my way of thinking because of skating. That was it. And then realizing that the wheels were so big that all the rails that I always wanted, but I couldn't because there were grass or bad floor. So that was the thing. Now I can do it. So I started pushing myself in that sense.
Level. Yeah, you're like, I can now access stuff. Oh yeah, that's dangerous.
But,
okay.
But it is dangerous. I broke my collarbone twice in 1 year. And it's bad. But the thing is, I kept on going, even broke it, fixed it, kept on riding my bike. And the thing is, when I was riding my bike, I had no pain on my ankle because I had 4 points holding the impact.
Yeah,
both pedals and my arms.
Elsewhere, yeah.
Yes, the pressure is in 4 places instead of 2 only on skate. So I could do it. And I felt healthier riding the bike at first. Then I started having a lot of crashes because I was going bigger and bigger and bigger. But it was all good. That was never why I stopped it. The thing is, I was very active on the bike, still skating skate shows, doing skate shows with the skatepark company.
Okay.
With the skatepark building company.
with the ramp builders. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, when I moved to South Africa, my bike was my only way to move around. Back then, she wasn't my wife, Janice, but we were living in the same place. And I had no job. I had one way of transportation. That was my bike. And that bike, like, if you break anything, you can't find things. It's like it's like having a rare pair of Salomons that no one else can get. So if you break something, you can't get it.
Yeah, especially in South Africa. I can't imagine there's a big fixed gear scene there. Yeah, okay.
Number one, if you break things, you are not able to move around. Number two, if I break my bike in a not so good place, it might be a bit dangerous. So I started using my bike a lot, mainly for transportation. And I used my skates a lot more. And along the way, I met another one of my best friends today. His name is Greg Fraser. He's an amazing filmer, probably my favorite videographer of all time. And back then, he skated just for filming. He never wanted to be filmed. He wanted to film me or film someone else, but he never wanted to be filmed. There's just, I don't skate good enough. And we developed a thing that we started pushing ourselves to skate different type of spots. He was always that type of guy, just skated weird stuff. And again, I reinvented my way of skating. So that's when the big wheels came.
Yeah.
And that's when I started learning how to skate without getting my ankles this big, I didn't have my bike. I couldn't ride the bike. I couldn't jump from there like I used to love. So I had to find another way to enjoy my skating. And that was the best thing that I've done in my life, learning that type of skating. Because nowadays I can it changed the way that I think about skating. I don't care. There's a huge rail. I'm at my office now. The park is here. There's a huge rail. Everything that everyone says when I post something, do the rail. I know I can do the rail, but
I'm pretty sure that was the first thing I wrote. I was like, grind the rail, grind the drop rail, because that's
But you know what? I can't do the rail. I know I can do it, but you know what's going to happen is if I do it, I'm going to barely walk the next day because my feet will swallow because of the impact. It might not happen, but it might also happen, and I don't want that. And at the same time, why? I've done it. I don't feel like I need it. It's just there will be the day that I come here I want to do it, and then I do it, but not because someone says it. And that's the way that I want to skate more now. It's I don't care what you say. I want to do it because I feel like it. And for me, it's been the best thing because I actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
More than anything. I love to skate. I left speed skating. I used to be a speed skater. I stopped being a speed skater because there were people telling me, you need to be here this weekend, you need to be there, and then you need to make this result to be in the world champ. I don't want that anymore. I want to skate when I want to. So
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. I think the problem is because it's like you said, because you know you can do it, I think that's what would make me not be able to stop myself, because I'd be like, oh well, that's a drop rail. I've done a drop rail before. This looks easier than that one. I can do this. So that I just wouldn't get it out my head until I'd done it. And then so I'd just be a slave to
but
my
at the
own.
same time, I got this thing here every day.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, the whole, my way of thinking used to be like, I need to do it now. I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. It's true. I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow, but at the same time, there will be the day that somehow I will just say, I'm going to do it, and I'll do it. But it needs to come from me.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Right.
So that clears that up. All right. So, and then the YouTube channel, you obviously started that quite early on in South Africa, and it just kind of built up over time. How long did it take before you started noticing that you were getting like traction, or you were getting a decent following or a lot of feedback? Because
that's funny. I remember I wanted to start I was working with Powerslide, and I wanted to I was back then making not the same what Biz is doing, or not the same that Brandon is doing, the skate news.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you remember some Powerslide news. There was an idea. If you go on Powerslide news, you'll see it's presented just like if it's the TV news, the guy with the blazer. Okay. Welcome to Powerslide news. It was a monthly episode. And I wanted to make a lot more of that type of stuff for them. I wanted to make that monthly episode with the news for Powerslide. We had a presenter, which was Earl Abrams, one of the best skaters of all time. Most of the people don't even know him. And
it's very familiar. Yeah, okay.
Earl Abrams, probably the last video you saw of him was something by Greg Fraser, the guy that I told you. It was like a collective of image, big wheels, small wheels, whatever.
Right.
Then after that, I was still doing that, and I told Powerslide that I would love to do something that would be called the Skate Geek, which would be me just dressed as a geek, like with big glasses. Like it was like creating a character and just geeking on skates, like a crazy scientist geeking on skates. Like if you want to do a royale with this skate, you need to go at this angle. You can do a slide with your skate going up to this amount of angle without the boot touching, blah, blah, blah. All this type of stuff. I wanted to do it. But I remember filming something, and they said, yeah, that could be cool. But there was not really anything that excited, which I fully understand. That was not polished at all. And I was like, man, I could actually start doing something. And I remember sending an email with the guys from Powerslide saying, I might be wanting to start making these vlogs thing. And the first thing that Thomas from Poland said is like, watch out, because if you work for a brand, if you're going to make something like that, people will think that you're not trustable, and you this and that. And to be totally honest with you, it was more because of me than from Powerslide. They never told me don't do anything with other brands, but I was trying to be so loyal that I was scared of doing something with other skates in my channel at the beginning. But anyway, that's different from your question. Basically, let me tell you how I started the channel. I was thinking about starting something for a bit. So it took me I remember telling my wife I would like to start a YouTube channel and see if I could make like 15 or 20 euros of revenue to pay for Google Ads for the shop. I already had the shop, Lino Skate Shop in South Africa. And then I started thinking of ways that I would do this channel. So it took me a couple of months. I knew that the first video that I wanted to do would need to be something special somehow. So I started making a couple of videos that I didn't call it, that I actually created a playlist called Almost Vlogs. And the first vlog, the vlog number 1, was filming the day that we find out that Janice was pregnant. That was vlog number 1. And then the second one, I wasn't uploading every single day or anything like that. The second one was I got kicked out of South Africa. So that was the type of content that you would not see skaters posting. Skaters would only post skating, 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 skating. There would be no one talking to the camera. Not like that, because there were two guys that were doing it. One of them was, what's the name of the kid that did the 1620? Skating the Nitro games. What's his name?
6 and 20.
Shay. Come on, man. He skated for. It still skates USD nowadays. Wake Chapman.
Okay. What's 6 and 20? What's that?
1620, right? Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
That's a lot of spins.
Oh, right. So six. Right. Okay. Sorry. You're talking about a rotation. I thought you were talking about a project or something that he did, and I was like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, right, 1620 on the Mega Ramp.
Yeah, I remember he used to do like kind of
a little vlog. It was a vlog.
Yeah.
It was a vlog. He was talking to camera, and there was another guy from America. Oh man, I feel bad that I don't remember the name, because they were amazing. It's this other guy. He actually made a VOD of him skating with the Wizards on some Majestics. I don't remember. I think he's from above San Francisco. Man, sorry, like my geography is not in place. Anyway, these two guys were making vlogs, but other than that, probably there were more people, and I was not aware of that. But there was not a lot of skaters that were doing content when they were talking to camera and anything like that. And I used to enjoy a lot of stuff like that from BMXers and skateboarders. Skateboarders weren't that big, but scooter riders were already.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to start. And I remember speaking to Greg, and Greg was like, maybe you're going to lose a little bit of credibility. Because it's always like, I think
that's the thing holding a lot of people back. They're just scared of.
We'll get there in a second about credibility.
They'll be perceived, yeah.
Street cred. Everyone is scared of losing the street cred, but nowadays everyone is doing it. So the thing is, dude, wanting or not, most of the skaters, I'm not saying that everyone needs to do it, but the guys that have big places as skaters in companies, the reason why they're there is because the company wants to sell skates.
Yeah.
And this is a direct way to your community or to your fans or to whatever. You start growing a community, and people really listen to what you say. And you start seeing now that with this podcast that you became a lot more active. You start seeing more people listening to it, and you start seeing that the same guys that come, and there's always new ones, but the same ones that come over and over and over. And those people that come over and over, they start liking what you do. And some of them, if they don't like, they give you feedback, and it's the best.
They certainly do.
Yes, but that's the best way. It's the best way for you to actually learn. It's the fastest way for you to learn. It's instant feedback. You put something out, people tell you they like it. If they don't, and you learn. And that's somehow I started doing that, and in 3-4 months I was making those 15 euros, and then not making it
quick,
like that.
Though. That is really quick for that to, and obviously it's a very small amount, but that's especially in rollerblading, because rollerblading is something that I find, well, especially aggressive rollerblading is so niche that it makes it problematic to market at times.
No. Here's the thing. Back then, I will explain what you were saying, why I'm saying no to what you were saying now, but back then you didn't need minimums to start monetizing your channel. You didn't need 1,000 subscribers, and you didn't need the 4,000 hours. So you could start monetizing right away. You would not be able to take the money from Google until you have 100 euros back there, and then you could start taking it out. But anyway, so the thing is, I started seeing how much I was actually making with that. And it was never because of the money, but it makes you like, maybe I can, if I try these, I get more people watching. Or you start enjoying it. period. And you know it. And as much as people want to say they don't, they start liking it. And everyone yes, there's even shit on Netflix about it. It's addictive. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
but
like,
it's something.
The satisfaction of creating content is addictive because you feel satisfied that you've got this end product that you worked hard towards and it's in front of you. Yeah, I completely get that. Yeah.
But you know what was the best for me? It was, I had some editing skills. I would never compare myself to any of the big guys out there, even in the skating industry, that make videos. Never. But the truth is, at the pace that I was editing, I got so quick at editing. There was a time that I was making one video a day for myself. I was still making like skate content for Power Slide or for whatever. And I was still making stuff on it. And I was still making other projects and still working at the shop. So I was still having the time to skate and all that. So I became so fast at doing it. Yes, it was simple editing, but you find the best workflows that work for you.
Yeah.
And you
quickly develop a system. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was so good. Like, nowadays, like, it's just quick. I actually have someone that can help me with that, which is even better.
I'm going to ask you about that later, but yeah, I want to hear about
we'll
this
get there.
First.
Yeah. But the thing is, what I started doing is what I made, I put it back. What I made, I put it back. And this is something that I didn't need the 20 euros, the 50 euros later, the whatever euros that you make after. I wasn't living from that. I didn't want to live from that. I wanted to reinvest that into growing. So I would try to get like either a product or to get some trips, or when I would make a trip, I would try to make the most out of it. And I remember when I went to Brazil, as I told you, I was already a bit bigger. I was already like, I don't know, like 5,000 or 6,000 subscribers. But if you ask any of the Brazilian guys that were with me, I don't remember being that tired because I wanted to skate till like 2-3 in the morning with the guys, because I was skating in the morning to go to Rolling Sports, to the shop, to be with the guys. And most of the times I was trying to edit in the morning, but I was skating in the afternoon with locals. I was skating at night with the locals. I was sleeping basically like 2-3 hours. And that was my rhythm back then.
Yeah.
It's not healthy at all, but I wanted to make it. I wanted to do it. And it's not because of money or anything like that, but I felt like I was growing something. Like I started feeling like people was enjoying it and I was doing something for skating. And that was the addictive part, not the numbers, but feeling that people were starting to enjoy it. And I started enjoying it even more when I felt that more people were starting to do it. People that used to look at me like, look at this clown. And I felt that so many times. But you know what? That look at this clown. And now I see a lot of those that said that now doing something. And I'm not saying it's any of the big names out there, but I'm being generalistic, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it's easy for people to turn their nose up at someone that they think is doing something cheesy or corny or whatever. But then when they see that person get successful do it, then they're like, oh, well, wait a minute. And the main metric for them deciding whether or not it's cool or not is if it's successful. So if you just kept doing those videos, but you didn't make money off it or make a living off it, they'd be like, oh, that guy sucks. But now because you are, suddenly it's acceptable. And it's like, well, you know, the content hasn't changed.
I love it. I keep saying the same. Like I am the happiest guy. Like when I see like, and it was never one of those guys like Niels. I remember Niels started a channel and I was the happiest for that. When the guys from Jump Street podcast started the podcast, I saw the first episode. I made a video on my channel. Please go check that. These guys like Billy and Austin are making a podcast.
Yep.
I made a video right away. Please go, because that's what I want to do. And that's what I will keep doing with my channel. I want to take politics out of that. And sometimes it's weird because people don't get it, but like, it is what it is. It's my channel, it's my content, and I'm able to control it the way that I want. And whenever people don't like it, man, as bad as it sounds, nowadays, gladly, there's a lot of other options. So yeah. I'm sorry, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be all like smartass or anything like that, but this is something that I've been trying to make it exactly the way that I feel. And over time, you end up sometimes changing about the way that you think about certain things. And I'm very honest when it comes to that. Like, if there's things that change for me over time, I'll be myself on my channel, and that's what I'm being with you, and that's what I will always be, and that's the most important thing for me with what I do. So
that is what I like about it, because you've made a career out of rollerblading, but you've done it on your own terms. And yes, like you said, you're just making stuff that you want to make. And I'll admit it, there's videos that you make and I'm like, I'm never watching that. That does not appeal to me in any way whatsoever. But then there's some that I'm like, oh yeah, that looks interesting, I'll check that out. And it doesn't matter what I like, because you've got so many subscribers and it's about catering. Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is, like, it's easy for people to go, oh, like, this is cool or this isn't cool. Like, oh, I wish he hadn't done that. That's cheesy. But the fact is, if you do it and it feels real to you or genuine to you and it makes you happy and comfortable, then more power to you. And
you know, the thing is, I don't see myself as an aggressive skater, and that's very hard for some people to understand that.
Yeah. Well, you're not. Okay. Like, you're not. You're active in every, like, in all other disciplines.
I skate. So, yeah. I am a skater, period. Yeah. I'm not even an inline skater. I'm a skater. And I even ride bikes every now and then, not that as often as I would love nowadays, but that's why I call myself the whole wheel addict thing. But I skate. And at the same time, sometimes through what I do, I end up getting people like, I had a message once from Powerslide when I used to do the social media, like I had to answer the messages. I had someone saying, my wheel is broken. I took the wheel out of the skate. When I shake it, there's something loose inside. It's broken. It's the spacer.
The spacer, yeah.
but for us that understand skating, this is very basic, right? My wife, she's been learning a lot about skating, and she nowadays, sometimes I'm like, wow, she knows everything about the products that we sell and all that stuff. But the other day she wanted to change wheels, and she changes wheels, and she puts the wheels on roller skates with one bearing only.
Okay.
And you're like, dude, these are very basic things for us. Yeah. That we've been living our whole lives or for a long time with that. But a lot of people don't know. And that's when I think, like, dude, we need to do something with that. Because how do I change bearings? You type, how do I change bearings on inline skates or on rollerblades or whatever you want to call it? And this is where I want to help. It's not just about doing like a 720 to fish brain and try to put my hand like that. I respect that. But for you to get there, you need to know that your skates need to have two bearings. You understand what I'm saying? I want to be part of those people that are learning. I had like a little series called How to Skate for Dummies, where I teach people how to stand up and holding a pram, a baby pram or something with wheels. It's very basic for a lot of us, and for you, I wouldn't see you looking for that. But
people do look for it. People do.
But you see that thumbnail. You see that thumbnail. You see the title, and you have a friend saying, "I would love to learn how to skate." Check that video. I don't watch it, but go check that. Do you understand?
Yeah. Oh no, like absolutely. I fully appreciate that and it's true, because before there was a lot of information that we would get from magazines. Because I like what you said about changing bearings and wheels. I learned that from like a thing in the UK called Skater Mag, and it had recreational stuff and aggressive stuff. But now you don't have magazines, or when you do, they're very infrequent, and they don't have that kind of information. And now that information's online, and you've created a hub for that, where people, if they search for things.
But even through that, nowadays we have a huge problem with that. And there's another opportunity for people out there. I've been actually waiting. No one did it. I made it myself. I'm waiting. So now you go on Google, it's like how to skate. You go and you have like how to put your skates, how to choose the skates, but they're all from different people. No one has something that is actually in the same place.
Yeah.
You know, where's the skate courses? Everyone is doing skate instructor courses, but no one is actually putting it in a place. So and all the pro skaters are making VODs. I'm putting both together. I've studied sports. I've been teaching skating my whole life. So I've made a skate course. That's what Alex, the guy that works with me, we've been doing through the pandemic. I filmed it already. It's all being edited, and we're going to make how to skate, like from A to Z, the whole thing there in the same place. Yes, it's paid, but you can learn everything, how to choose the skates, how to stand up, how to lace your skates. It's these type of things that for us, it makes no sense, but we're going through a pandemic. You'll not find a skate instructor anywhere. Where are you going to go? And then what am I doing? I'm growing my image a bit. And that's what I'm trying to do. I want to skate for the rest of my life, and I will do it. And I want to be related to skating for the rest of my life. And for that, I want to work my ass off. This is my job. I created my job, and I will keep on working on it. I will not sit here and say, like, I'm good. I'll never be good. It's what I love to do. I need to push myself in a certain way, and I don't know. It's hard to explain.
No, I know what you mean. And like, it's like you don't want to be complacent. You're always looking for how you can improve it or how you can develop it and how you can build it. And it's funny that you mentioned that about the skate instructing thing, because obviously I bought a pair of skates off your shop for my daughter start of last year, not knowing we were going to enter into a pandemic. Or was it before that? Yeah, because it was just when we moved into this house. And
no, it was already, maybe you guys weren't taking it serious. It was already in May. We were in lockdown for 2 months
during
already.
The pandemic. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because we were in here. And I let her out. I brought her out skating a couple of times, just like holding her and doing it and letting her roll about and just get a feel for, because I'm like, I got excited about skating by seeing it on TV. And I was like, I want to experience that feeling. When I see that guy grind that ledge, I want to grind that ledge. Yeah. But she had no concept of that. And other than seeing me rolling around a skate park with her. So I was like, rolled her about a bit, and she wasn't really into it. So I just left them the box. I was like, I'm not going to try and encourage you to love something that I love. And then a couple of months ago, she was like, oh, Daddy, I want to come rollerblading with you. And I was like, right, now it's on your terms. Great. So I would skate about with her and hold her hand. And then I was like, oh God, I don't know how to teach her how to skate, because I know how to skate. I've been doing it for almost 25 years, but I can't remember what it was like to start. I can remember falling on my ass and it hurting, but I can't remember.
You need to break in the steps. Yeah. Every single step. It's.
And then it's different when you're explaining it to an adult. Like if you're explaining it to a teenager, the teenager will get terms that you use. A 4-year-old child does not get the terms that you use. So I kept trying to show her, and I got her confident on the skates, but I couldn't figure out how to explain pushing off to her. Because I was like, oh, well, you have to turn your leg and you have to pivot. And she was just like, and I was like, I'm not getting through to you.
Let me give you two tips, very basic. To stand up, always get on your knees.
Yeah.
And to stand up, keep your hands like a penguin, just like this.
So all the basic stuff, I could explain everything except for gaining speed on the skates. I couldn't figure out how to explain it to her. So I showed her YouTube videos. And the YouTube videos were just making it so much worse, because there was a woman that was doing, oh, you generate speed by doing this with your feet. And I was like, you do not do that. You absolutely do. That is like, you're compromising your balance.
Basic. Open your, if you put your hands like this, you go forward. If you put your feet like this, you go forward. If you put your feet like this, you go backwards. If you start just going like this, you start moving. If you want to get speed, start closing it. The more you close, the more you roll. But you can explain when you're with a kid, you can visually explain it, or in the video, you can visually explain it. But this is basically just an example. What you're saying is actually, it's very true. Yeah. There is a lot of times we go too complex, and and that's why we started this thing, like how to do this for dummies, whatever. It's just like simplifying it the most you can.
Okay. But that's pretty cool. So when someone weirdly, you actually came up in conversation not that long ago, and a friend of mine was like, oh, Ricardo doesn't do this for a living though. And I was like, of course. I was like, are you joking? Of course he does it for a living. Have you seen his numbers? And they were like, what? I was like, I interviewed Nils Janssens for Platform, and I was like, oh, how much do you make on YouTube?
Yeah, I listened to that one.
And he said, oh, I make a few $100, dollars a month. And I was like, oh. And then I said to my friend, I was like, Nils makes a few $100 a month. And he went, so? And I was like, Ricardo has 6 times as many subscribers, and some of his videos have over 530,000 views. I was like, so if Nils is making 300 a month, Ricardo's doing all right. And he was like, oh yeah. Like I had to break it down to them because people just don't think of things like that.
I'm open about it. No problem. I have months that I can make close to 1,000 from YouTube. But the thing is, I do not use it for anything for myself. Basically, what I do with the YouTube money goes back into it always, either for trips or that's why we got Alex, the guy that works with me. So before I moved to Portugal, a couple months before, I started a YouTube channel in Portuguese.
I remember that, yeah.
Which is still going. It's right now in 4,000 subscribers. It started being monetized now. It doesn't give me basically nothing. It's not about the monetization, but I wanted to be able to communicate with the people in Portugal, in Brazil, in Angola, Mozambique. That's my mother language. So for me, I had a very basic concept, which is there's always a white background. I just sit and speak about a problem. That is something that no one else was doing in that language, in this language, which is mine. So I started doing that. The whole thing is I reinvest every single time. Either a couple months ago, I was buying those electric skates. I was buying these shoes that when you kick, the wheels come out. There's a lot of things that people wouldn't spend the money because they're not good enough for us skaters. But at the same time, there will be people looking for that. And my goal is those things are related to skating, are close to skating. What's going to happen is someone is going to want to buy that shit because there's no other name. They're going to go to my YouTube channel because my YouTube channel, when they Google that, it's going to show up. That's going to be their first video. And the next 100 is going to be about inline skates. Yeah. What they're going to buy? It's the exact same thing. What I'm doing is I try to bring more people to what we do. Either if you're an aggressive skater, a speed skater, or whatever, if you skate, I try to bring more people into it. And it doesn't need to always be about that. Like some people, they really want to know a bit more about those electric skates or whatever. So what? For me, I love it. I'm testing it. I love to try that type of stuff. And I don't
You get to have fun with the product. And at the same time.
And I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of times, the brands are happy that I do it because some brands don't really have reach. And my reach, it's such a niche thing that it could be very profitable, but I don't. Any big YouTube channel where they make the less money is actually from Google AdSense. That's where they make the less money. It is.
I've investigated the kind of, breaking down what you get for each ad that shows in your video and it playing to the end and all that stuff.
But if you're growing a community, you can have the merch. Like we now made a shirt, that new shirt that was drawn by
the Wheel Addict long sleeve,
we almost sold out in the first day. See that on a thing like that, you can make more. You don't make more money because you need to pay for that. But this is an example. A lot of people do that. Or I don't charge any brand ever for anything, ever. If it's a skate brand, I don't charge anything. If it's any, I got this thing from, what was it? There is a teaching company. I don't really remember. I'm just being very stupid about that. One of those online courses.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So I don't really remember. It's very stupid because I did something with them. I don't really remember. But with if one of these brands want to do something with me, I have prices. That's it. I try to make it as professional as I can. I have my own prices and I send them like a PDF. And if you want it, you want it. If you don't, you don't. I'm sorry. I'm not going to put my pants down for you. I want to work.
You're not asking them for a job. They're asking to work with you. So yeah.
Yeah, it's If they want, they don't. They want. If they don't, they don't. It doesn't matter. But for skate brands, I never charge anything. What I always tell the brands, and some people might not like that, is, look, if I don't like the product, I'm not going to make a video destroying your product. I won't. And I know that some people will like that. And some people might say, yeah, you're not open enough about it.
Yeah.
It's, I have, there's a guy called Deez Skate. He has a YouTube called Deez Skates, Deez. His YouTube channel has actually been growing a lot. He's over 10,000 subscribers. He's amazing. He's a roller skater. He used to be a slalom skater. He's also from the same city that I didn't remember, above San Francisco. I don't remember.
Oakland?
Just being stupid. No, above San Francisco, like in another state. Portland. I think it's Portland.
Right, okay.
I'm not saying anything. Or Seattle or Portland, somewhere like that. One of these two, I think.
It's in the Midwest, though, so I don't know how it could be near the West Coast. Okay.
So it's Portland,
maybe.
probably.
All right.
Portland. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But he actually made a video where he was talking about it, which is, as an example, I do love the trigger skate. I made a test with the trigger skate. But in case I didn't like the trigger skate, yeah, some people might not like the image of the skate or the whatever. But as a skate, as a product, it is a good skate. For like a certain type of skating, it's amazing. But if I didn't like it, if I would make a video destroying that skate when it's the only product that brand has, that guy, Javier, which is the owner of the brand, he's been working a lot on that. It's not fair for me to come here and yes, what would I do? It's actually hard because then I also have my viewers and they would also feel like, yeah, but we want to know about the skate and you don't make the review and you don't make the review. I don't want people.
Yeah, you don't want.
What I do is I don't do the video.
Yeah, but you also
I don't do the video.
Yeah, you don't want to destroy a man's livelihood. Yeah.
So yeah, I just don't do the video. That's as simple as that. Even if you send me the product, if I don't like the product, I don't do the video. I don't want to destroy you. But I will be honest with you, if I get a product and if there's something that I like this, but I don't like that, I'll be super open about it. But if the whole thing is negative, it didn't happen. It never happened. Yeah. There was never one product that I didn't like the whole thing. That never happened. But in case that happens,
I appreciate
example.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's important but I would be the first one to email the owner of the brand saying, look, this is not right. A good example with the Impala inline skates. A lot of people don't like the brand. It doesn't matter. But they sent me a pair of skates to make a review. I told them, I said in the review, the wheels are very bad. The skate, I fully understand. It's not a skate for me. It's a beginner skate. It's more about the trendiness of it than really the quality of the skate.
Yeah.
But the wheels are really bad. And they saw it. And they got back to me saying like, look, we have a second edition. We're going to send them to you. Please let us know. You don't need to make a video. Let us know what you feel. How do you feel about this? We changed the wheels. So it somehow feels like, I'm not going to say that they changed it because of me, but at least they took the feedback, you know?
Yeah, you're helping them make a better product. Yeah. Which is, that's even if you don't make a video, that's valuable to them because it's better coming from one person than they sell it and you have legions of people saying, well, these are terrible quality wheels, and then they get a reputation for it. So yeah, you're still providing a valuable service to them.
Yeah, but I always try. This is something that I always try to do. I just try to not. It never happened, but this is what I tell to every brand. And sometimes brands don't contact me. I'm the ones contacting them. I tell them like, look, I would like to review this skate, or do you have any review units? And a lot of times they don't, or they just don't answer.
Oh yeah, I've tried as well, and I've not been successful once.
but dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, helmets. Before I choose a helmet to skate with, I made. I'm not gonna say a copy paste, but I made an email. Then I adjusted to a couple of brands. TSG, they didn't give a flying fuck about a inline skater or whatever I am. Bell, and these brands, I'm actually saying the name because if you're watching these, just don't buy any of those brands. They don't want anything to do with what we do.
Yeah.
TSG, Bell. There was a brand called POC, which is amazing. They got back to me and they told me, look, and these guys were very open with me. I know their helmets are amazing, one of the best helmets on the market when it comes to protection. They told me, look, we are not trying to advertise into that sport. We really appreciate, we wish you the best of luck. But these guys were very like, they told me something they didn't ignore.
Yeah.
But then there's other inline skating brands that they don't ever even get back, and I'll just go and buy the skates. That's it. And then I'm able to do something. If I have interest on a skate, I'll buy it.
Yeah, that is quite interesting. Because I've seen before in the comments sections in some of the videos, people are like, well, we can't trust your opinion because, you know, you're working for such and such, or you're doing this. And that's got to be
but I'll be honest with you about that. So this is something that I said already in this conversation. When I started working with Powerslide, they never told me anything.
Yeah.
I was the one feeling like, maybe if I do something with other skates, and I did work with the brand. Nowadays, whenever I do a review, and from actually listening to people and reading the comments, because I read them all, like sometimes it really sucks. I should ignore them, but sometimes they're bad for me. It affects you, but it doesn't.
Yeah, of course
matter.
it does. It's no one.
But it's good. It affects you for good.
And yeah, but some of them are just a bit rude, and like no one likes being insulted.
But I get it. I understand. I actually ask for people, please let me know what you don't like. I go and say, do it. I prefer that. But anyway, so while working with Powerslide, that always happens. So when I first started working with Micro, the first thing that I told them was, whatever we do, my YouTube channel is fully independent. So it doesn't matter if I work with these or that brand, I will be able to skate and review every single skate on the market, period. And I do it. Yeah. And in fact, since I started working with them, I basically I do skate them. I like the skates. I wouldn't work with a brand if I don't like the skates. But I haven't really made that many reviews of the products or the brand that I work with. That is
what I was going to say. It's not like your channel's turned into the Micro channel. Like you still review a lot of aggressive skates from different brands.
I basically don't review stuff from Micro. I prefer to, in my job, what I do is I choose other people what I can send the skates to, and I ship them the skates, and I expect them to make a review about it. And I never told them, if it's bad, don't do it. Whatever, it's up to them. If they think it's bad and don't do it, they don't. If they want to just say it's bad, they do. It's a risk that a brand takes, whatever. But for me, I will speak about it. And there was a pair of skates called the MT Plus. When I made a review, I told them, look, you can take it the way that you want. I do work for this brand. So I say in the beginning of the video, you can take it the way that you want. And
yeah, you're being upfront and disclosing it rather than,
it's important.
I think that's fine. Yeah.
But I wouldn't think about that if I wouldn't hear people saying it, or if I wouldn't read people saying, but he this and he that. Like, I try to adapt to that type of stuff. Now, the truth is, for me to be able to do what I do and to, like, imagine I told you how much I could make from YouTube, but for me to be able to get that and go and buy a speed gun, or to go and buy a pair of these skates that I know that I would never use, I need to not be depending on these to live. And the reason why I don't depend for this to live, it's because I have a job, which is still skating. And for now, I wouldn't want to do anything at the moment which is not related to skating. But nowadays, everything that me and my wife do is related to skating. So
because I did assume that your main source of income, or your biggest source of income, was your job at Micro. And that, obviously, just watching it from the outside, it's not like it's not been without challenges, because obviously you had the reputation of Micro that you had to overcome, which was
I knew that was coming.
Oh no, I'm not actually. I don't even want to talk.
Yeah, but it's all good. It's all good.
Talked about,
but it's all good.
I'm actually. That's not what I'm going to ask you about.
You know what? But you know what? I can talk about it because it never been talked from both sides.
Okay.
And
I actually genuinely don't want to ask you about it. I want to ask about what I wanted to mention was about how you dealt with it, because you had just addressed it very publicly and went, well, this is, it was before my time, yada, yada, yada. But then you said, you'd had trouble getting the skates into shops. And I was like, God, he's got this new job, but he's having trouble actually getting. I was like, God, Ricardo could get this new job and then lose it because it just doesn't. And then it seems like you very much problem solved.
I found a plan.
Well, if I can't get it into shops, I'm going to create a shop, and then I'm going to sell them. And that's what I like about, because no matter what anyone says about you, you're always thinking, you're always coming up with new ideas. And it's not like you run into a wall and you go, oh, that's it then, I'm going to stop, or I'm going to quit, or you go, no, I'm going to find a solution. I'm going to work through this. And it seems like you've just been very good at doing that over the years, like encountering a problem and just solving it. And I think that's very admirable.
I really appreciate that. The only reason why that happens, it's not obviously the only, but like I have a huge help from the people that I work with. And I'm saying like my wife and the people that I've been surrounding by, like with the shops, we have people that we actually trust, and we have been able to delegate functions to people. And I never thought to say them. And I started the whole thing. I told you that I used to run a shop that was inside a skate park. It was nothing. It was just me. Probably I would get people a week. It was it.
Yeah.
When I would sell a skate, I was like, that's cool today. I made some money like every now and then. And things change. But the reason, as you said, the reason why I had to start a shop was really that. I felt like people like to choose one side. That's basically the things. And when it comes to this micro thing, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I've been talking. I spoke with a couple of people about it. I never spoke about it publicly. And the reason for that being was because since the beginning of this, since I started working with the brand, I said this in my first video about me starting with micro. It was a mess previously, but I would never accept to work with a brand if some of the things that are being said were true. So I went to China, I went to factories. Before I accept anything, I made a million questions. I made so many questions about, what about this? What about that? What about that? I asked two of my friends, one of them, which is big in the skating industry, they said, no, right away, don't do it. The next one that I spoke with, someone which is I really respect as a skater, told me, you're going to lose the whole street credibility. That's what he told me. You're going to lose your street cred. And at the same time, I looked at it like, I want to live from skating. I have an opportunity to do something for skating and to be able to support my family from this. And that's basically the way that I took it. If I could speak what's behind, I can. But at the same time, I don't know if it's something that we want to do here or not, or if you want to do it any other time, it's all good about it. But my function, my main job was taking care of the image of a brand that was broken to pieces without even starting. It's just like, it's like you're trying to build a glass, but the glass was never a glass. That's basically it. It was always pieces of glasses. And people keep on smashing the glass, and I keep on trying to build it. And the truth is, I do know a lot of people when it comes to skate shops and all that. And for every single one I'm going to talk to you that own a skate shop right now. Every single one of you that own a skate shop, every single one of you that are very good friends of mine when it comes for me to sell skates for you through my YouTube channel, you're all very good friends of mine. But when it comes to buying skates from the brand that I work for, none of you want it because you were scared of whatever. I don't want to talk about it. The truth is, once I started the shop, the skates started selling. And every single person that bought the skates, until now, I didn't got one complaint about the quality of the skates. So everything that has been said, I don't know. I can ask you, are the skates bad, the skates that you bought? For kids' skates? Be honest with me.
They do the job. Like, it's kind of hard to abuse a kid's skate to the point where it would break. It would have to be pretty terrible quality for it to do that. But they're comfortable. She loves them. And all she cared about was that they were pink. When I asked her, do you want a pair of rollerblades? She went, I want a pink pair of rollerblades. And I was like, I do not know where to find those. And then your shop opened up and I was like, oh, just have a look. There's pink rollerblades. And I was like, I am going to win Dad of the Year here. So pink rollerblades were ordered. Yeah.
See, but that's basically the thing is, man, I started it, and it's also a mission, because now look at things the other way. It happened previously with me with Powerslide, because I was on the role that I had. And when I started doing the code with Eden or with Bladeville, people started like, yeah, but it's not fair because you work with Powerslide and now they're selling the product through you and you have a connection. And now also the same happened with Micro, obviously, when I started selling, yeah, but you work with them. And so I set the rule and I sent it to everyone. You will not see a post on the main feed of Micro related to my shop, which I make posts, or I have someone that makes posts on the Micro Instagram on a regular basis, but you don't see posts about my shop.
Yeah.
Because I cannot take advantage of my job role when it comes to that. But at the same time, the reason why it's selling, it's because I like the product.
Yeah.
And I trust it.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like you couldn't get them into other shops, so you created your own shop. They're selling well.
And you know what? And now it's selling. Now it's selling to other shops.
Transparent about it. It's not like there's been any secrecy or hide. Like
no. And you know what? I was scared of losing my job, not because I'm not doing it right, but because of every single person that were scared of getting the skate to their shop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't matter how good of a job, how much promotion I can do for a brand. If the skates just are not available, you're trying to sell skates or to get people to buy skates, but then people can't buy them anywhere.
Yeah.
So let's make them available. And that was basically it. So that is it. And it's actually been doing good in South Africa.
That's what I wanted to ask. So are there like particular countries where they sell better than others? Like where do you guys find that you have the kind of biggest market?
Well, my biggest market at the moment is basically South Africa with Lino Skate Shop. That
right.
It's completely solid at the moment. I never expected from...
Is Mo just selling all the skates on Sex Appeal? Is that what it is? They're just selling them through... Is Mo still running the shop?
Mo is still running the shop.
Yeah.
He works for us. I'm very proud of that, man. I'm actually very proud because Mo is the guy. The day that I met Mo, I was filming a video. I went there this morning. He's like, my name is Mo. And that same day, I was like, man, I would like to get someone to work on the shop on Sundays and Saturdays, just in the mornings. And he was like, I would do that. I would like to. And then he worked there for 2 weekends. And on the third weekend, he came and, man, I dreamed that I could do this as a full job. And I was telling him, I was actually speaking to Janice yesterday that I would love to have you doing this as a full job, even if it is my income, but I would love to pay you and be able to focus more on the YouTube channel. That's when I was starting to learn. I wasn't making enough money to live or anything like that, but I wanted to focus more on that. So that's when he started working for us full time. And at that time, I asked him how much he wanted, and we paid him basically the same that he was getting paid on the job that he had. And I told him, but I don't want to create problems for you. And he was like, no, it's going to be okay. So he left his job. He spoke with his boss, like, if it doesn't work, I'm coming back. That was his agreement with his boss. But I'm very happy that nowadays we're able to pay him way more than almost 3 times what we used to pay him. And that was the last 3 months we were paying 6 times or 5 times what he used to get paid.
That is pretty awesome. Yeah, you've given someone essentially a job / career. Yeah, and it seems like you've improved his circumstances, which that's something to be very proud of.
The thing is, we were able to, when we left, we were able to find the best way. Basically, I was trying to find a job for him because I didn't know if I wanted to keep the shop. I ended up finding a way to keep the shop open and reduce the expenses a lot. And that's what we did. We reduced the expenses. We kept Mo. And Janice's main job when we moved to Portugal was to manage Mo and to start becoming the buyer. Janice was related to fashion for a long time, with UK brands, bringing UK brands, bringing UK brands to South Africa and doing all the looks of everything. So she always wanted to do more like the buying the right stuff, and I was never into that, man. I was like, I like skating, but like I would be the worst. I'm bad at managing a shop, honestly. I'm like, sometimes I would let myself go out of skates completely until I order it, and the shop is open for like almost a month or 1.5 months with very few products. I never made pre-orders, and she manages like smoothly. Her and Mo have been making it working very good, and then we even hired someone just to produce content because we're not there, so that they could do pictures of the new products and whatever. So over on that side, we went up like, I don't know, I don't want to say anything wrong, but we were like more than 5 times with the whole pandemic. So it's been very good. And on this side, obviously it's new. I never had to make a skate shop where I had competition basically in South Africa. Yes, there was competition, but it's like a roller derby shop in Johannesburg, and now they open like a roller rink in Cape Town that they have. It's good. This type of competition is going to be good. Now in Europe is completely different. For me to open something in Europe, in Loco, I love what Jake has been doing. Like Jake is like the master. He's always like, dude. So a lot of times I have ideas and I would tell James, how cool would be that? 2 weeks later, boom, you got it. Like, damn it. I love it. It's not like damn it in a bad way. It's like awesome because he's doing it so good. Bladeville, Grindhouse has been strong in the game since forever. Like not as strong probably as a couple of years ago, but like then you have the guys like from Skate Pro. They're like the IT masters. They find ways to be everywhere, and it's cool. Like there's a lot of competition, but the reason why I sell, I want to think it's because of how straight I can be to people. And
well, yeah, it's the audience that you've created, and like you said, you've now got a product that no one else has. Like you're able. It's not like they can go to those other shops and you can lose a sale because they can. But I'm the first one to tell them.
Yeah, but they can get they can micro from everywhere. They can get micro from everywhere, and they can do whatever they want. I'm like. If someone wants to buy micro, imagine if someone wants to buy a pair of Empty Plus, if they are in Manchester, there's a shop in Manchester, The Alchemist from Matt. It's like a new shop. He sells the skates.
Well, yeah.
Like
north of Manchester, yeah.
But this is just an example. If you want to buy the skates in Rome, in Italy, there's a shop in Italy. If you want to go to Athens, and a lot of these shops, they do online sales too. So all of this, it's about the way that they put themselves out there. And as someone that works for Micro, I'm going to send it to them. Now, if someone contacts my shop about something, that's why since the beginning, I always say the same. Janice is the boss. She deals with it. She does the I call it the customer service and all that. Yeah. And sooner or later, we're gonna need someone else for that. Because it's been busy, and now with the kids at home, we've been going mad.
Definitely. That's very cool. So I'm glad things are going well. I kind of got that impression just from because I saw that obviously you're hooking up people now with like things like Brett Davies, who I met so many years ago. Like he used to help film at Slam Jam with another guy called Jordan Matters, and that was the first time I'd met him. I've also heard that either through your shop or through Micro, you're actually like kind of semi-sponsoring people, because I've heard of other people that you're hooking up with free products.
Yeah. Basically, I'm going to talk first about Brett. I don't think I ever met Brett, to be totally honest with you, but I remember of Brett skating big wheels when he was in Malaga.
Yeah.
And I know that he somehow kind of faded, and then he came back. And last year, we have a UK micro distributor, and he was willing to try some micro MT Plus skates, and he bought his first pair of skates. like the cheapest ones that we have, the most affordable ones, like 100 pounds. He bought the skates, he started skating, he enjoyed them, and we started connecting, started getting in contact. And I was like, man, there's this pair of skates that not a lot of people in Europe are skating, or even worldwide. I would like to send you the skates and you tell me what you think. And we did it. And then he started producing a lot more content, and we started doing a lot more stuff with him. But he always wanted to connect with me, not just with the brand. So when we opened the shop, he wanted to be related to me more than just with the brand. So we're like, let's do something with the shop. So what we did was, he skates with this new brand called Endless. They send him skates. They send him frames. And we're like, okay, why don't we make a pro shop setup? So we put like the best liners, the wheels that you like to skate, and we make something that we transform a 100-pound skate into a 400-pound skate. Or it's very expensive. It's not for everyone, but it's, you know it.
I mean,
what skate do you skate? Do you skate a stock skates?
That's what I mean. It's no different to a them skate. Like a them skate is a budget skate, but then you can make it a high-end skate by putting an intuition line around it, or some crate frames. Or I appreciate that. Yeah,
and for him is very happy with that. And what I like the most about him is what I actually try to do the most with urban skating. It's not always about doing double backflips. It's not always about doing like the biggest gap. In that type of skating, we need relatable people. What I mean by that is, if I'm trying to buy a pair of skates to ride the city, I'm going to see these guys skating the city or skating whatever, having the best time, a very friendly guy. Like when someone sends him a comment, he's always happy with everyone, always answering everyone. He's very relatable.
Yeah.
And that works very good for a brand that sells these type of skates, probably more than the guy that jumps from here to the moon. So,
and it's accessible. Like seeing someone just cruising around and just do it, you're like, he makes it look so easy. So you're like, someone's like, I could do that, or I could picture myself doing that.
Yeah, and I would like doing it too.
And that's the problem with aggressive skating, because when someone does something, if it's, too hard, especially during the period where you grew up skating, people were jumping off roofs and grinding off roofs and doing rail to no one sees that and goes, I can see myself doing that. Of course you can. They're getting broke off left, right, and center. But when someone's skating through a city and just looking cool, like you're like, oh, I could be that guy.
I'm going to give you a good example. When I started skating, René Green was already doing all those flips and he was already so good on that. I remember seeing that on TV. And I'm talking about when I started aggressive skating. I started skating before, but like when I started aggressive skating, I started seeing that like, I would never be good in a vert ramp. I'll stay in street. See, this is just a thought. And nowadays I was actually speaking to Janice yesterday. Dude, Bernardo, which is the guy that builds the ramps, he has a vert ramp. I was just telling him.
Oh God. Don't do it. It's too late. It's not too late to do most things, but you're too old, right? Don't do it. Do not do it. You're gonna
maybe
kill
yourself. Can learn McTwist.
Oh God.
No, but it's just like I know, but you understand what I'm trying to say. The whole thing with René Holmgren is like, sometimes
it's intimidating. It's intimidating when you see someone that good like, going that hard. It's intimidating. It's impressive, but it's not like you. If you've never done it before, you don't look at that and go, "Oh yeah, I'm going to give that a try." No, you're not. Like
exactly.
Only psychopaths think, "Oh, I'm going to try." Like you get certain nut jobs that put on a pair of skates and go, "I'm going to do what he's doing," but few and far between.
Example. There's a guy that is actually a very good friend of mine. He was one of the first Portuguese aggressive skaters. His name is Pedro Ferreira. And I remember watching something on TV. There was something playing on TV. And there was like, I see the guys jumping stairs. And back then I was like the Portuguese speed skating champion at my age, like 15, 14, whatever. And seeing people jumping stairs, going downstairs, I didn't felt that appealing. I was like, I can do that. Even without ever trying it. I can do that. But then there was something playing on TV and they put like a little rail coming out of like a You know those beer boxes, plastic boxes with the rail coming out. I don't know if you ever did that.
I know. Yeah, I know. What you mean. You just
The
stick
crate.
a scaffolding pole in a crate. Yeah. I've
But
done
that was playing on TV, man. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're talking about 93, 94, whatever. And I see the guys just sliding on that. Like, that's easy. That's what I was thinking. And then this guy goes and does an X grind. I was like, wow, that's cool. And that X grind from that Pedro Ferreira, which is now a good friend of mine, actually made me like, I want to get a pair of skates. And I tried putting money on the side for a couple of months to then go and buy a pair of Rossi Street. But it was that, compared to looking at René Ulrich doing those flips, for me, it wasn't appealing. I know for some people, probably a gymnast would look at that. That's cool,
No, I know what you mean. And I think that, a lot of that contributed to rollerblading's downfall during that period, because we were so desperate to go hard to get appreciation from other extreme sports that we didn't realize we were completely alienating potential skaters, because they were like, that's all these people are psychopaths. I'm not doing that. Whereas, like you said, with Brett's appeal is that he's not doing anything intimidating. He's just doing what he does well.
Let me be the interviewer now. One question only.
Okay.
What do you think it's going to happen with skateboarding? Because skateboarding seems to be going that way now. Bigger, crazier than ever. Have you seen what they're doing now? Like the biggest trails, the biggest kinks, the biggest gaps. They're going crazier than ever.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm really not that into skateboarding. I like the personalities behind skateboarding, like things like Nine Club, where they interview people, which is why I was so excited when Billy and Austin started Jump Street, because I was like, oh my God.
Likewise.
I was like, finally, rollerblading is getting a Nine Club. This is going to be amazing. And why I still love it, because, Jump Street's awesome. But in terms of the actual activity of watching skateboarding, if I'm being perfectly honest, I find it really quite boring and repetitive, which is what I would imagine a lot of people think when they watch aggressive rollerblading. They go, well, all the grinds look the same. But there are things that I will watch, like GX1000, stuff like that, where they do all the hill bombs in San Francisco, because it's just, it's insane. Like, just the stuff, I'm like, any one of these could get you killed, like any one of them. So stuff like that. But then I think with skateboarding's now, once again, pushed the envelope of mainstream acceptance, because now they're going to be in the Olympics. And they've obviously got this generation's Tony Hawk and people like Nigel Houston and all these people that are making themselves very accessible and making themselves into, things that are bigger than skateboarding. Like, Nigel's got his YouTube channel where he has a session every Saturday, and he's doing things like you are on your own terms and becoming
there.
So in terms of, I don't really follow the industry that much, but I genuinely believe they're just going to infiltrate mainstream culture even more than they already have. Like, look at what Thrasher's done in the fashion world. Like, it's everywhere now, and
I know.
I see their foothold in mainstream culture only getting stronger and stronger. And like you said, the sport might be getting crazier, but it's got so many different niches and fractions within it, because it's like in blading, you've got the basement guys. They're like, I'm not killing myself in a handrail anymore. I'm not jumping off roofs anymore. I'm just going to absolutely finesse the hell out of a skate park and ledges, and I'm going to do it, incredibly.
Awesomely. Yeah.
So I think skateboarding's still just going to be like that. It's going to have your different niches within it, but you're going to have these people like, Nigel and Sheckler and stuff like that are always going to appeal to an outside audience. And I genuinely just think it's just going to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, there are guys nowadays, like I was watching this guy, I don't even know, like from Colombia the other day, like there's some stuff being done in skateboarding that like some rails that even for inline skates are not as easy, because he was always like, whatever, we can do it. Of course we would be able. We send the farmer, we take the farmer out of the pocket, we send the farmer, and we're safe. But
now skateboarders are doing rail-to-rail transfers, though. That's terrifying. I've seen some footage of skateboarders doing like a steep handrail to a steep handrail, and I'm like, wow, you just erased the one thing that separated us from you guys. You just bridged that gap. Right? Yeah. So,
that's cool.
if I had the insights, I would be I'd be the successful person making a living off blading. But that's my mind's not that progressive.
Come
Apparently.
on. Okay.
So what else did I want to know? What else did I want to ask you about? So do you have any kind of like future things going on with Micro that you can tell us about, or a direction that you guys are heading in?
Yes. We're actually, I'm very excited now. Finally, we're having like a proper urban skating team.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask, because I know one of the guys that you've been in touch with, Stephen Johnston.
Yes.
He mentioned that he'd had some contact with you, so.
Yes. We're doing something. There's a couple more. Some of them I can't say it yet, but we have I'm actually very happy with the guys that we're getting together, and for this year we're gonna have some skates sold as boot only, which is not a thing in urban skating.
Right.
So basically, I'm talking obviously about urban skating because we also make other stuff like kid skates and stuff like that. But I'm talking about more like the stuff that probably some people would relate, even if I know that a lot of the people watching this come for aggressive skating, and I'll get there in a second. But we're getting some like skates being sold as boot only, and the urban skating team that I told you, some of the skaters are aggressive skaters. Some of them never really used big wheels before, but they've been willing to try. And the whole goal here is that there are some guys that are pure urban skaters, just skate the city, that's it. Some of them very skilled at it. And some others are just someone that want to try to get on the big wheels, and they will all have completely different approaches into skating. When it comes to products for this year, and we had like this team is like, there's people from all over the world, from Chile, Argentina, Australia. In Europe, we have a couple from the UK. There's people basically from Spain. There's people from basically all over the world. Product-wise, I said the first time that I started working with when I made a video saying that I would be working with this brand, I would be a line of products, and we've been working on that. I'm supposed to, hopefully it's something on my way now, which is I can speak about like openly about it. I'm trying to make something which is, there's a boot that will have the exact same look from the top, but the bottom, like imagine the top of the boot is the same. The bottom, there's 3 different models. So basically, imagine if you would be able to buy like the most relatable thing for you would be probably the USD carbons. Imagine if the USD carbons you could buy a USD carbon as a UFS skate or as a 165 skate. By 165, a lot of people would think of a slalom carbon skate.
Yeah.
Like you can have one which is all wavy on the bottom and the other one which is just a UFS.
So 3 different mounting systems. That's what you mean?
2 different mounting systems.
Right.
Meaning that 2 of these have the same mounting system in a different way. So it's one UFS. We will have a UFS. I wouldn't say, yes, it will be able to be used as an aggressive skate, but we are not producing an aggressive skate as an aggressive skate, at least for now.
Right.
Maybe in the future. But you see, I have one here. Yeah. You see, like, obviously there's the wizard frame that everyone uses.
Yeah.
When it comes to like, when everyone uses the wizard frame, there's only one boot on the market for it, period. There's only one boot. There's no competition when it comes to that. I had a conversation with Leon the other day about it. It's the Saber boot, either the SX.
This has been contentious because apparently when people have contacted Leon to say what skate goes with the wizard, he said, these other brands, it doesn't go with them. And I know that Peter from Adapt took that really personally.
I know. But the truth is, what I mean by that is like, that's what people have been using. I believe that an Adapt skate will work good with it, but at the same time, I never tried it. So we have someone that creates a boot like Peter saying it works. We have Leon saying it doesn't. I don't know if it's for selling reasons or whatever. I don't know, and I don't want to get in the middle of that. But I do know that most of the people look at I actually tried when I first got a pair of Wizards from Leon. I bought the Wizards from Leon 2 years ago. And I tried a couple of different boots. I thought, yeah, the US This Way is a skate that I think the previous version, it's might not be the favorite look of a skate for a lot of people to use with this type of frame, but I used to skate it with the taller frame, and I used to think it was very supportive.
That's what I was going to say. The Sway doesn't strike me as a supportive skate at all. It seems very like flexy.
The newer one, it's very forward flexy and also soft. The previous one was harder. It didn't have the forward flex problem.
Okay.
So, which for a lot of people, it's not a problem. For a lot of people, they really like it a lot. At first when I got it, it was weird to be able. I actually really enjoyed the farmer skates.
All right.
The type of movements that you can do, the way that you can squat differently because your knees go forward. It just looks awkward when you look back and you see a thing getting like squashed and pointing out.
That kind of freaks me out a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but the way it feels is different from most of the skates, and that's also important. As a brand like USD, why would all the skates look the same? If they have different skates, let them feel different. So, but anyway, so as a boot for the Wizards, there's basically no competition. I tried the Sways. I tried with some. I thought, let me try some carbon skates. So I gutted some carbon Frankie Morales and made them everything to make them a carbon skate. It doesn't work. So at least it didn't work for me. Probably some people listening to this, they will think it works, but it's not the same as the SX. So I'm not trying to copy anything as the Seba SX, but we're trying to make a skate that will work with UFS frames for bigger wheels. Okay. And there's more nowadays. You have like the Kaiser just released one, Compass as the 80 millimeter frame, which is UFS. There's a lot of people that don't want sole plates. They want a big wheel UFS frame.
Yeah.
K2 has been releasing UFS skates for a bit. I don't even think they have 165. So we want to make a skate that works for that. But at the same time, I don't always skate that. And there's other frames like the Endless frames. They are 165 and I really like how they feel. I really like them. And I like that the boots give you a lot more options. It's not just a Wizard or an aggressive.
I do like that. It's a very cool concept. Yeah.
Yeah. I can put an off-road frame. I can put a downhill frame. I can put like whatever frame I want, a speed skating frame, whatever. I can put whatever I want there. Speed skating is different. But I can put most of the frames and just skate with a 165. At the same time, there's two types of 165. Not 165, but raised heel. There's the raised heel, like a slalom skate, the wavy one.
Yeah.
And then there's the raised heel, like the Majestic or like the Dam, that you can still put sole plates with the raised heel.
Okay.
And that's basically what I can tell you about it.
So it's going to be easily customizable. Like you'll be able to put
if you want. Yeah. It's not an aggressive skate. It can be an aggressive skate. And that's also one of the reasons why our urban skating team already has some aggressive skaters.
Yeah.
So they can help with feedback and
that's cool. And it's not like it hasn't been done before. I mean, Rollerblade have released plenty of skates that aren't aggressive skates, but can be used like, they're
the Fusion.
Yeah.
The Fusion is the exact same as the Solo.
Yeah.
Just without sole plate. And then you put the sole plate and you're good to go.
Yeah. And there's like B-Free's doing it with the Flying Eagle ones. He's putting sole plates on them. Yeah.
But Flying Eagle is really like that. Flying Eagle that's a very good concept. It was developed by Ollie.
I remember he designed everything and then just before it came out, had to step away. Yeah, the Enkidu, yeah.
The Enkidu. I don't really skate the frame that often, and I don't even skate the Flying Eagle that often. I had the skates.
Yeah.
But the sole plate doesn't feel as good with most of the other 165s because it's aligned differently.
Okay.
I really, really wish that sole plate would work with other skates because it's on a Flying Eagle skate. dude, you take that sole plate, you put that sole plate, becomes UFS, you take the sole plate, and some people don't like the looks, and I fully respect that. But if that system would work, then you could put it in a lot of different skates. Example, we have a skate called the Beat that is white with the big M on the side. A lot of people really like the look of that.
Oh yeah, I know the one you mean. Yeah.
That thing with the sole plate, it looks awesome. I put it. I tried it a couple. I even posted
That would
something
kind of
on
look like
Instagram.
I think that would look kind of like a Deshi. That would look like one of the old Deshis out a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a bit. Yeah, it does look a bit like a dashi, but I like the looks of it. I always love the looks of dashis. I didn't love the way they feel that much.
No, I hated it. I hated it.
Yeah, the last one's the carbon one. Some people really like it, but it was about the construction. I don't know if you know about the construction of that skate, but most of the skates that you have are done as a cup thing,
Yeah.
like on your heel. And that one was a flat sole and things coming from the side. So when you first get it, it's stiff, but in no time.
That was it. I remember
Cardboard.
it turning into cardboard. Yeah, and just.
But people love it. Some people loved it. The stuff that they could do with those, they couldn't do with anything else.
Oh, I mean, Martina was still skating them until last year and winning competitions in them. So yeah. They definitely did the job for some people. That's pretty cool.
One of my favorite guys to ever watch on those skates was Fridolin Elbow. I remember him skating the whole black ones. He had the best look, in my opinion, on those.
See, I would have said Chris Cheshire.
Chris was amazing, of
Chris
course,
was
and
briefly
even
on.
Chris Farmer. And Chris Farmer, when
also
Farmer
true.
was still
Yes.
very baggy.
Yeah.
But if you ever saw, probably the thing with Frido, man, is a lot of people there was never really good footage of Frido. I remember that he was on Mind Game.
He had
but
he had an awesome section in Kaiser.
Insiders and Outsiders. But
Outsiders,
who
yeah.
filmed that?
It was made by the Canadian guy, Guillaume La Trompette, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
It was not like
Guillaume
man,
something. Guillaume.
Whoever skated with Frido around between 2004 2006, whoever skated with him when he was skating Dashi will fully understand what I'm saying. It was so good, like just so good, but you couldn't see it on whatever that would be online, or unless you really went to Vienna or saw him somewhere. It was just on a different level.
I kind of feel like that's the case for a lot of skaters from that generation.
Yeah, of course.
Where because there was only such a small selection of people making videos, that there was just this entire generation of incredible talent that just remained undiscovered.
I have something to say about
just underexposed, not undiscovered, underexposed. They didn't get the airtime that they deserved.
I have something to say about that. It was before we actually starting this conversation. I was thinking, if you would ask me about something when it comes about the skate park, I would talk about that. Okay. So when I started skating for USD, my first salary from USD was 200 euros. And from those 200 euros, it's all good, man. I was not a professional skater. I wouldn't consider myself a professional skater. But from those 200 euros, I was spending 150 on buying a camera every month. And I think I paid it for 2 years because the camera was actually very expensive in Portugal. It was 2,999. It was a Canon GM2.
All right, okay.
It's the GL, but in Portugal it was the GM or something like that. So it was the GM2. It was way too expensive, but because I didn't have that money, I was paying it monthly, so I paid a lot interest. Yeah. So I was paying 150 every month from my salary. It was like I made 200. I was paying 150 to that camera. Why? Because I live in Portugal. I didn't know if I would be able to travel or anything like that. I didn't really know what was going to be, but I knew that this was something that I wanted to do, and I didn't know how to edit. So what I was doing is I would film myself. This was the original plan, to film myself or to get someone to film me or to film my friends and send the footage. And somehow that's when things slowly started happening. And I'm not saying it's because of me, but it's like somehow that happened. And relating that from 2003 or 2004, comparing it to what I do nowadays, this is what I'm doing with the park.
Yeah, just being proactive. Yeah.
It's like I want to do something, the world is telling me not to do it, and I'm like, sorry, I'll make my own way to do it. And that's basically it. It's not the same. It's a big. I don't have a house. I don't have a house, my own house, but I'm finding ways to live from what I love, and I have my family that supports me and all that, and obviously we're all benefiting from that, which is good. We're able to have a okay life, so we're good, happy.
That is like I said, I've always had so much respect for you because you are doing it in your own terms, and you've managed to make it into a thing that you can support and sustain yourself and your family on, which is incredibly admirable. And you're not afraid of people going, oh yeah, that's not cool, or that sucks, or whatever. You're like, oh yeah, I don't care if you think that. I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to be a success at it, and you're just going to have to live with it, basically. So
the hardest people to have that conversation with, it's the ones that I actually got used to it, and I actually am very open about it because of my best friend in South Africa, Craig. But I remember like 2-3 years ago, I was talking to Mark Moreno, and he didn't even knew about my YouTube channel. And then he started watching some of my stuff, and this was at the Winter Clash. And I told him, and most of the people for a long time, all we wanted to do was the stuff that stays forever, all those video projects that we put a lot of effort. And I respect that. That's very important. Those are like marks, like landmarks that you put in your skate career. But what about the people that just want to watch stuff? Why are they watching something stupid on TV that have nothing related it's not related to skating, when they would prefer to be watching disposable content? And that's what I call what I do. It's most of it's disposable content. It's the stuff like people watch it and it's not a rewatchable thing. Some of it. Some other, it's actually I try to put some value on it, like teaching how to do this or teaching how to do that. Or when you make a review, some people that wants to buy the skate, they will go and look for that. For a lot of people, that's just something that they don't have any interest in. I respect that and I fully understand. Like if you're a sponsored skater if you're on the pro team from Dashi, why would you want to go and see a review of something that you're not gonna want to skate? It's just like, some people just don't have any interest, and I respect that. But at the same time, this type of content, it's also interesting for some other people that are just trying to get and learn more about skating. So it's just disposable
for all the people that want to be purists about it or like say whatever. The fact is, there's a lot of people out there that just want skate content. They want skate content and they want it regularly. And it's not there, and you've filled that gap. You've given this massive library of blading related video content, whether it's aggressive, whether it's free skate, whether it's recreational, whether it's beginner, whether it's expert. But it's a massive library that's there, and otherwise they wouldn't have access to it. You've given them something that no one else has, and that's I don't see what's wrong with that, and I can understand when you get your, like staunch, aggressive rollerbladers who are like, oh, I don't like it. It's not cool. It doesn't fit in with my idea.
But I'm okay with that. Fine.
But your content isn't for them. It's not for like the diehard aggressive skater. It's for everyone. It's to try and make it as accessible as possible to people inside the sport and people outside the sport. And I think that's a great thing.
I'm going to give you one last example about that. If you're, for everyone making YouTube channels, or for you that you're doing something like, the way that you succeed on whatever, it's like if you find, imagine you start doing something, you start making a certain type of videos, and then there's a video that you hit the spot, and then people really like that, and I know if I keep doing that, that's how I'm going to grow a lot more. Basic. It's, imagine, I know if I'm going to make a downhill video, this is a good example. If I'm going to make a downhill video, if I'm going to put numbers on the title, it's as stupid as that. If I'm going to put numbers on the title, if I'm going to be making a downhill video, and if I have Mo on the video, if it's me and Mo, and if there's numbers on the title, and if there's downhill, that video will do great. Now, knowing that, will I only do those? No, I could do it. I could just find ways to just do that, grow a lot more. And there are channels out there that do it, and I really respect that. I can give you a very good example. Sean Unwin from ShopTask.
Oh, yeah.
I love what it does. I love what it does. There was a time that he used to do a lot of diverse content, and he found a certain type of skating that his community really loves, and he stick to it. And I respect that a lot. He's been growing a lot, and people really respect what he does. He's amazing, but he's been sticking into what he knows it's going to work, and it's going to grow a community. And he skates with the same skates. He does the same type of skating in different spots. He created a little team, which is him and this guy, Alex. And it's amazing what he does. But this is an example. For me, I try to just be on the whole spectrum of skating, you know?
Yeah.
So a lot of times it also has, it's not just pros, a lot of times there's negatives, because I know I'm going to be posting something. Imagine I post an amazing video with Estrogen, with Michelle Stalin. I make like an interview with her. I know that people will love it. It's starting to get a lot of traction. The YouTube algorithm loves it. If I post something similar, the next video, YouTube is going to suggest it, because they already know that was good. People liked it. They stay in the platform for a long time. If I'm going to post something similar, the whole thing is going to pick up. But guess what? I want to teach someone how to skate. My next video is going to be how to change a bearing, how to lace your skates. I know it's not going to work for the platform, but at the end, that's not my goal with this thing. It's not just about growing in the platform, but it's to
Stop
do
saying
my
platform.
thing.
That's my word. You can't use the word platform now. I've taken that.
Sorry.
It's
Okay.
copyrighted.
But it's not using the same thing on YouTube, but you understand.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I get it. Yeah, it does make sense. There's literally, well, actually, we could talk for hours. We have talked for hours. The only other thing I definitely made sure I want to cover was, one of the things that I love about you most is, and you mentioned it, I think it was in Jump Street, you're like, I want to bring other people up as well. You're like, I don't want to just, I don't want to be just a success. I want other people to be a success as well. Mm-hmm. And I do appreciate that, because you do practice what you preach. Like I've contacted you out the blue and just asked, various questions. And it's always surprised me in such a small, tight-knit industry that we're in, that how rare it is for people to actually be willing to help each other out. Because there are individuals that you can contact in the aggressive skate industry, and they'll give you advice, they'll give you, they'll share their experience with you. But there's a lot of people that just want to keep that information to themselves. And that's fine if that's their choice, but it's not, you can't say, support one another, let's build this community, let's build some, and then not practice what you preach. And you very much are a person of your words in that respect, because you've shared information with me. Like I've literally just sent you a message before saying, oh, how do you navigate this? And you're like, oh, I'll call you. And I'm like, that's, you go out of your way, and you don't need to do that. And I don't think easier. A lot of people realize just how available you make yourself to people when they just ask for your help.
I told this a million times. I say this a lot of times when it comes to brands. And I say this when it comes to creators, about the sport, whatever. There's two ways of growing. I could be trying to grow by going here and try to to get the viewers from these guys. Imagine someone only has 5 hours a week to watch videos. I make 5 hours. There's other guys making more videos. I don't want them to watch their videos. I just want them to watch mine. This is not the way that I think. I don't want to steal anyone's piece of the cake. I want to grow the cake. Imagine if I get 1% of all the views in the whole world. I can try to get the percentage that you get, the percentage of views that someone else gets, or I can try to get more people to watch these, and then my 1% will be a lot more.
Yeah.
So that's what I keep on saying, like as a sport, not as a not platform, not as YouTube, not as a social media thing, that because YouTube is social media, say whatever you want. But I think the most important thing is for us to grow these thing that we do. These, some people want to call it sports, some people want to call it a art form, whatever. Grow skating as a whole. And example, there's a CJ Wellsmore, there's a Niels Jansons. They both very active, and they both have a certain type of skating, and I love what they do with their YouTube channels. Especially like CJ contacted me the other day to try to help him on something. I'm should be in contact with him soon about that. I was telling him, let's talk about it. But they do a certain type of skating. They're the top guys when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So for them to move out of their way to start doing something very beginner-like probably wouldn't make sense. But at the same time, for me to try to bring more people into skating, they will benefit too. Because I bring new skaters, people to put the skates for the first time. But sooner or later, they will become aggressive skaters, and they will look at those guys as something, or they will become a hockey player, they will look at someone else. But I want to bring more people into skating or into whatever we do. And that's why I believe that having more creators will only make us stronger. When I say that whole thing about inline skating and rollerblading and aggressive skating, and now Chris Edwards coming with freestyle rolling, I'm not saying that I'm saying the right words. I call it inline skating a lot because it's actually what it is. But
yeah, they're inline skates.
But at the same time, all I'm trying to say is that the more people calling what we do the same, the more strength we are giving to this cake. And the more strength we have in this cake, the more opportunities there is for everyone. And it's as simple as that. If I'm going to put this in a way that a lot more people will probably understand. Everyone complains that inline skaters or aggressive skaters or rollerbladers don't make money enough. But if you are a sponsor, if you're like, okay, there's this guy contacting me, he wants me to support this event, or he wants me to support him. Let me see how big whatever he does is. They go like, rollerblading, 50 million posts on this hashtag. They go, because the guy said himself that he was a rollerblader. Now, if someone says inline skater, they go 38,000, whatever, 38 million, whatever. But at the same time, if we all call it the same, this 38 and this 50 would already be the same. So this sponsor would be looking, this company would be looking into a 88 million industry instead of a 50 or a 38. Yeah. So the more we call whatever we do the same, the more strength we are giving to that for everyone. But I tried it. I keep on trying. I keep on at least calling whatever we do the same.
Yeah, I get it. And I understand it because I got into an argument with Marek from Head and Skate about it at the last Winter Clash. I call it blading just because I have for so many years that I can't stop myself from calling it that. But I understand his frustration at wanting to call it inline skating and stuff like that. Yeah. But
as an example, but Mirek then has a shop called Bladeville.
Exactly. So it's...
But then you see other brands like Razors they used to be Razor Skates. And then they tried to go on the wave and they started calling themselves Razor Blades. And then they go back to Razor Skates. So at the end, it's not their fault. It's all our, and I mean our as skater.
Yeah, collective. Yeah. Yeah. I'll go
The
along with
Winter
it.
Clash is the biggest. The Winter Clash is the biggest event. It's the biggest blading event.
This is true, but yeah, that's an exception to the rule. It's not the rule. So yeah,
The second biggest event is the Blade Cup. But then John Julio doesn't make them blades, makes them skates. So is it blades or skates?
I think them skates just kind of rolls off the tongue easier than them blades. Them blades, them skates.
But it shouldn't be about rolling off the tongue. It should be about what we do having a name. And Arlo Eisenberg won the X Games. He does an interview for ESPN. In the exact same interview, in less than 10 seconds, he called two different names to our sport or to our activity. He called it inline skating or aggressive skating and rollerblading. For someone that never saw that, they don't know what he's talking about. He's talking about different activities. And I'm not pointing, I'm the last person. Like all these guys that I said, I'm like the first one to idolizing them, you know. I'm just talking, and myself, like before I moved to South Africa, I made an event in Portugal called Blade Meeting. So
yeah, I do think that's one thing that I just find so, and it's not just restricted to rollerblading or aggressive blading. It's I think it's just life in general. You can respect someone and, like you said, like idolize someone and not agree with every decision they make. And I encounter this all the time with wheelchain, where I'll address something or I'll address someone, and I'm known for being quite blunt or offering my take on things, and it can get me into trouble. But they assume, or the community assumes, that you have it out for that person, or as a personal vendetta, or you don't like the person, or you don't like the company. And it's like, you can like a person and respect them, but not agree with certain decisions they make. And you can make those opinions public, and it doesn't mean you don't like them. So for example, if a brand does something I like, it doesn't mean I don't like their product. It just means I don't like a certain decision they've made. That doesn't mean I'm saying boycott the brand, normal. Destroy the brand. But it's interesting when you said that, because you're like, oh, I love and respect Arlo. I idolized him, but I don't like what he did there. He confused the audience.
But I don't even think that he did it on purpose, you know?
Oh yeah. Oh no,
not
like
at all.
No one's
saying
anything.
It's just like,
yeah, no one's saying it was intentional. Yeah.
We do it. I'm talking about I'm talking about skating with someone, and if that one person is always calling it rollerblading, I'm going to end up calling it rollerblading in the same conversation, just so that we are talking about the same. And probably I shouldn't do it if I really want to stick to something, but all I'm saying is that we do it. And I'm not saying they do it. We do it. I do it too.
Yeah.
But I do know that, or I do think, it's not because I do know, I do think that if we all call it the same, it makes whatever we do stronger. But then we always have that people, no, it should not be inline skating, because inline skating is the guys that wear lycra and do something, and we don't do that.
Yeah,
I have that a lot too. I get that a lot.
Yeah,
but I don't care. I use lycra too.
that's an image that I won't be able to get out of my head. Yeah, I know what you mean. It is quite funny, because I refer to, I'm like, someone's like, what are you doing today? Oh, I'm going blading. Oh, wait there. I just need to, my skates have broken. My skates suck. I need to pick up my skates. Oh, these skates are awesome. So it's like, why are you calling
Is it Wilson blading or Wilson skating? Wilson blading.
Original blading content, yeah. Just because I was like, original inline skating content. That's like, that doesn't see, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, see, but that's...
Yeah. And I always hated...
Have you ever Googled blading? Have you Googled blading a lot of times?
Yeah, we're like the third hit or something.
We might end up without a couple hair, but before you get skates.
Yeah, that's true. And I always hated the 90s term aggressive inline skating. Like whenever just someone mentioned that term, it just really used to just grate on me, because it just sounded so like American TV, Pepsi Cola. Yeah, it's true. It's like gnarly, aggressive, rad, and you're like, no, just get no. It just makes my skin crawl. Oh, yeah, I can't.
I actually think the word aggressive, and then a lot of people think the same. The word aggressive is not the right one, but there's not another one.
Yeah, true.
Did you saw the video that you spoke about Colin Kelso? Did you saw the video? I actually, it's funny because I made a video on my YouTube channel after watching the Chris Edwards episode of Jump Street. I was like, man, he called it a different name, like another one.
He did. He kept referring to it as a different activity, and I was like, that is like, you're being very inconsistent here. Yeah.
Yeah, but I respect that. It's Chris Edwards. But the thing is, I heard that and I was like, man, I'm gonna make another video. I made one a couple of years ago about inline skating, and I'm going to address it again. And then like 1 or 2 weeks later, I was looking on something on Instagram, and the video from IGTV from Colin Kelso showed up, and I was listening to that, and then I went and he posted it before me. But the thing is, what he's saying is very true. What we do, it's skating. Period. It's skating. We don't even need to put this and that like aggressive, whatever. It's skating. Now, skating can be done with a lot of different types of skates, but it's skating. And I love it. Listen to that, or whoever is listening to this.
I remember him saying, like, skateboarders tried to take it from us. They can't take it from us. It's ours. We came way earlier.
Yeah.
Well, skateboards are made of skates. So by default, skates came first. Yeah.
Yeah. If you know the history of skateboarding, or if you know the history of
they come
skating,
from they just nicked quad skates and shoved it on a plank. Yeah,
to go to the beach.
Yeah,
to surf. They wanted to surf the asphalt.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've seen Lords of Dogtown. I know.
They are asphalt surfers.
They're something.
Freestyle asphalt surfers. That's
freestyle asphalt surfers. I love it. Right.
That's almost the aggressive inline skating. It's like the freestyle asphalt surfer.
Let's not pretend that. Right. I've consumed a lot of your time this evening, which I'm very grateful for. What I want to know is there anything you want to say before we wrap things up? Because I know you're a man of many thoughts. So just wondering if there's a final thought you want to end on.
No, I would say that as much as I hate this whole pandemic, I'm very, very, very happy with what this is actually doing for skaters as skaters, and not as people that work in this and that. But for skating, it's been amazing. And it made people like you become very active on these. It made like the guys from Jump Street jumping out of the regular podcast to do a lot of different things. You have Jason, man, from Milano what he's doing. It's awesome.
Jason Adriani. Oh God. Yeah. Jason was the reason I didn't do this. So like, I didn't do it until later because I'd wanted to do a podcast for years, and I just kept putting it off and saying the location's all wrong, because I wanted to do a TV show like 9 Club. And I was like, I love interviewing people. It's my favorite thing. And I've literally got hundreds of recordings from all the wheel scene interviews we did for the print magazine. And I'm like, the recordings are so much better than the interviews, but no one's ever going to hear the recordings. And it just annoyed me. And then Jump Street started, and I was like, oh, there's no point in me doing one now. Jump Street are doing it, and they're doing a great job. But then I was finding that there was questions I still had for the guests that I wanted to know that they weren't. And I was like, well, I'm a little bit more inquisitive about certain things. And then Zoom happened, and we started doing Zoom calls with all your friends because of coronavirus. And I was like, oh my God, now I can use this. And I can do a podcast. And then Jason started doing the Instagram ones. And I was like, well, if I do that, I'm stepping on Jason's toes. I was like, oh, I'm just going to leave it. And the only reason I started doing platform is because Jason took a break from doing the Blading chats. And I just thought, oh, he's finished with that now because he's got busy with his real life.
He did almost everyone.
And I was like, so I'll start doing one. So it's just quite funny how things like that happen.
But the truth is, this is amazing because everyone have different takes on things. Jason is always the very positive guy, and he has a lot of different questions from what you have. I'm not saying that you're a negative person, but you, like I said, you're a lot more inquisitive, so it's cool. And the way that you guys deal with guy, the conversations are different. The same with Jump Street, Billy and Austin have, even between them, they have different views on certain things, and that's awesome. So what I'm trying to say with all these is like the whole coronavirus got a lot more people creating content, a lot more pro skaters actually investing some of their time. Like, dude, I'm going to speak about CJ again. CJ just got a van and is traveling around Australia.
It's a very cool concept. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like all these things that wouldn't be happening, or probably wouldn't be the same, or we wouldn't be, and then we wouldn't have the time to watch it the same way, because now people are at home and they have the time to watch it. Most of the people are at home. So it's just, I think I was lucky with what I do, obviously, because it just more people at home. With, like I said, with the big library that I have a lot more people watching. I become a bit more powerful, my word, somehow.
Yeah.
It's the truth, if that makes sense to you. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if that's a
agree.
word.
I would agree.
I don't know if I can use that word. I don't know if that's the word to use, but the truth is, it is that. It's been happening. So it's helping everyone. And for me, it's like, I wouldn't think of having a park. I remember in the beginning of the pandemic, I was telling my wife, maybe I should try to get a mini ramp from Bernardo, because he's not doing events. I can try to rent a mini ramp, or maybe ask him, because I do some social media stuff with them. Mm-hmm. I can try to maybe get him paying me whatever with the mini ramp, or just let the mini ramp stay here and not paying for the wood, something like that. And ended up being a full thing. So it's like, got people out of their comfort zones, and that's within the whole mass. It's been good.
It's awesome, man. Well, I'm really glad things are going well for you. I wish you all the success in the future. There's one thing I forgot to ask you. I saw you were looking online for your pro wheel, your old pro wheel that you must have got rid of, or
I
never
couldn't find it.
Did you? So no one out there's got a set.
No, but I might get a wheel. I can't tell you a lot more.
I just unearthed that information out of you at the last minute. That was okay. All right.
Yeah, I might get it's not undercover, but I might get a wheel. And if it happens, it's from a brand that people haven't seen in a while. That's all I can say.
Okay. All right. I think that's a good cliffhanger to leave it on. Thank you very much for your time this evening, and I can't wait to see what the park looks like when it's finished. I just hope I can get over there one day to battle you on your little rail that you've got there. I'm game for that.
Please come over whenever we can do something. And if you ever come, you can come with a family, or for everyone who's watching this. We're gonna still try to organize things, but like, obviously, for me to be able to work, I won't be able to get people all the time, but I will try to organize ways for people to come around. And I already had a lot of people that really want to come. So I'm very excited about that. Because the thing is, like, I live in a very small and quiet town, and this is actually something that can be very, very cool for what I do.
Definitely.
Like, would be appealing for some people to come around and to do something. So hopefully it will work.
Awesome.
We'll see.
Well, I can't wait to see what you come up with. And speak soon.
Thank you very much, man. Have a good day.
See you later.